Poetics, bring the drums in. Hello everyone and welcome to the Rainbow Six Siege ESL Premiership live here in Leicester, and we're now at the halfway stage of the group stages heading into day number 4. I'm Lethal, joined by a lovely duo again, Troika and Ace. Guys, how have you been?
Really good, thank you. Excited to get back into the Premiership tonight and do some casting.
Yeah, can't wait for the games. We've seen some absolute crackers over the last couple of play days, so I'm sure we're going to have more of the same tonight.
Yeah, last week was pretty manic to say the least. So many upsets, so many situations we just did not predict. But we do have one announcement as well with Team Secret. Sadly, they will not be competing in the Premiership any further, but best of luck to them in their future endeavours. Which means if we have a look at the group standings, for everyone who will played against Secret will now be defaulted as a default win, and this will happen for all the other teams as well if they did play against them. But one good thing to add is that we may have seen a little org change, Ollie.
There is a little org change in there. For the keen-eyed amongst you, you will notice that Crazy is sat in second spot. They're going to be replacing MnM, as those guys have now been picked up by Crazy as an org. So I guess welcome to Crazy, welcome to the Premiership, and may their success continue.
Not a bad time to come into it with that roster, is it? They're absolutely flying at the minute. We can see them up there in second. Fierce just peeking ahead at the minute because they've obviously got that default win applied for Secret, so don't put too much stock in all of that at the minute. That will shake down as the season continues, but Crazy looking very, very strong at the minute. Yeah,
definitely one of the strongest, we have to say. We definitely need to look at last week's plays because especially with some of the upset, you know, Secret losing 2 matches last week. We thought MnM, okay, that was kind of what we expected, kind of not, but Burning Foxes, they're on an absolute tear, Ollie.
Yeah, Burning Foxes did a cracking job last week to get a victory over Secret, and I guess really a bit of a nail in the coffin there for Team Secret, unfortunately for those guys. But very good games all throughout last week. This one was probably one of my favourites, MnM versus Demise, a really interesting game of Siege played out on border, which isn't something that we see all too often.
Yeah, it was a couple of the Demise players had absolutely huge games. It just wasn't enough in the end. You know, that just shows the quality of MnM really. But, or Crazy as they are now, that's gonna be a struggle.
That's number 1.
That's gonna be a struggle through the night. We need to get like a counter of us referring to Crazy as MnM. But yeah, you know, Demise showed us some good things last week, and a couple of the players, like we said, had really big days, and they looked good as a team. It was just, you know, unfortunately they were beaten by the better team on the day. But
yeah, it was a bit of a shame. I think we have to say that when Burning Foxes was playing Team Secret, we noticed that Secret, their communication was a little bit off in a lot of areas, and we knew there were some problems here and there, but Burning Foxes have probably gained a lot more confidence now compared to the previous Playdays, because they had the first 3 hardest matches out of any other team.
Yeah, and you know, it's all well and good saying that a team wasn't maybe firing on all cylinders or playing to their full potential. But that being said, you've still got to close out the game in a professional way, and you've still got to get that result. And that's what Burning Foxes did last week.
Yeah, they definitely did. And of course, if you guys at home want to compete in our Open Cups, make sure you head over to esl.im/R6UK for some R6 coins, because, you know, definitely need them for a lot of bits and pieces in Siege.
There is some nice elites out in a minute.
I tell you what, there's just more and more of them coming along. I bought the Ash Elite, the Tomb Raider crossover the other day. It's an absolute crack. I want to see more of that, so I got in and supported it because I'd love to see a few more crossovers like that. I think they're a really neat way of tying things up.
Yeah, you're more than welcome to send us some as well, you know. We won't be competing because we'll probably come dead last, but, you know, we can do a few skins here and there, you know. I wouldn't mind some, to say the least.
I mean, we were looking at your statistics earlier, and I don't think you'd come dead last. You're a bit of a dark horse.
A little bit of a dark horse, yeah. My age, luckily, doesn't show it, but I think with one of the operators, it may show a little bit in terms of speed.
You got some questionable choices when it comes to operators. That's all I'm going to say, Harry. No, not many people have got over 100 hours in Blackbeard. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, I'm just one of those guys. Anything with a shield, I'm all good on. Make sure you follow all of our socials. ESL UK on YouTube, Facebook, and at Twitter. Make sure to head over at ESL UK on Twitter to vote for our player of the match, Prem VPs in the future, and of course to vote for our teams and the match going forth. And I think it's very important anyway. But make sure you have a look at our Prem VP now, as it is, of course, users.
And that will give Enclave a good advantage now and allows Mounty in to start getting this diffuser down. They are 3 versus 2, but huge plays from Demise. We see the Nitro coming in and being used, and they manage to flip the round. You know, they are feeding the information in, but they got the wall open into office about a minute ago now, and there's only Harris that is present in there. We can see a great challenge from users there, just using the slow peak to get the view onto Dats. And is Harris going to have the opportunity to think about getting that diffuser down with 20 seconds seconds left on the clock. He's going to have not much of an option very soon. Metal Stairs, Users will get himself a double.
That's exactly what happened there. Now, Packball in that vertical position, they haven't cleared out the top floor, and this is exactly what we spoke about. This is a very easy to defend site to defend from the upstairs, whether that's the doorways itself or the plant spots. Everything is easy to hold, and now Usersnow's got to rotate upstairs and try and deal with this. Straight up there, though, and he was ready for that one through the window in towards small office, and Users finds that kill onto Packball.
Although the diffuser is down, the question here is how much control do Demise have in this post-plant situation? The answer is not an awful lot. Users will get a kill though, and now Packball gets caught in a reload. Will he get the shotgun kill? Yes, finishes it off with the knife. 2 versus 1 now. Nathan does have the opportunity to go onto the diffuser, but he needs the support of Packball here in order to do so. Nathan is on there. Can he make this stick? I'm not sure. Users is aware. It's just getting in there. He keeps trying. He will get the first kill onto Packball. Moves around the corner. Users with a huge round for Demise.
And there we have it, Users. Congratulations to him. He did some phenomenal plays, and even on the first play day, he was a little bit quiet, but it wasn't like he was playing bad, just playing standard, just like everybody else. But Ollie, the last 2 play days last week were absolutely phenomenal.
Users has really turned it up, and that just goes to show in the way that he's been playing and the confidence that that guy's been going with as well. A lot of pre-fire shots going out and chaining multiple kills together in single rounds. You can't really ask for much more than that, and a very well-deserved player of the week.
Yeah, he's all right. Yeah, the 1v2 as Zofia in the last play day, unbelievable. You know, his positioning around customs and the way that he played that. You know, the diffuser was down, it needed defending, and the way that he played that was fantastic. Just getting in there, using his lifeline stun grenades particularly, just to feel out what was going on in there before going in and approaching and getting that final kill. Brilliant plays from Users. He was an absolute joy to watch last week.
It was a pure example of a nice, calm and collective decision. Very easy to panic in those kind of scenarios, but he played that so well. Not really any better, to say to speak. But let's have a look at today's schedule, because we've got some madness coming for you later on tonight. And the first one will be the match to watch, Randy's versus Burning Foxes. After how Burning Foxes played last week, we can see if their carnage continues. And of course, the other matches will also be fairly close. But the last one, just to speak about it again, but since Team Secret are not in the Premiership anymore, Fierce will take that default win.
Yep, I think Fierce may be quite glad of that at this stage, because, you know, they're in a decent position on the leaderboard, but that's going to help them to kind of maintain that as well, especially with the round difference coming in. But that first game is the one that I'm really interested in, Randy's versus Burning Foxes, Tim. That's the game that we kind of said is going to be our one to watch tonight. I'm excited to see, really, you know, those 2 teams throwing down, because I think there's a nice balance there between the different play styles.
Yeah, I think second and third, you're looking towards those games, and really, you know, you're watching for an upset, and we all love to see an upset, so that's going to be the key story there if anything does happen. But number 1 there, like you say, Randy's Burning Foxes. For me, that could be one of the games of the season. I think we've got 2 very sort of different play styles. We've got a team that's functioning very well as a competitive team, and then we've got Randy's, no offence to them, but they're turning up and they're playing, but they're turning up and they're winning, and they're winning the gunfights, and they're exciting to watch. I said this last week, both of these teams, I think I said it about last week, very exciting to watch, and now they're coming together. I hope they can both turn up with their A game. I hope they can really throw down here, and I think we could, like I say, see one of the games of the season.
When one of you are here, there's always a 12-round belter or an upset, but both of you are here, so I'm actually a bit worried for... I think all my predictions, well, all of us might be out the window here, but let's be real here. It's a test of time, really. We have to see exactly what the going on is. But Randy's taking the first match. You know, it's not a weak possibility.
36 rounds tonight, Harry. That's what you're going to get.
We could be here all night to the early hours. We'll see you at 3 AM.
It's a good job that 4th game isn't happening, let me tell you that. 36 rounds, no question.
But let's have a look at rosters anyway. And so let's have a look and see what can make a go of it. Because with Randy's, they do have a very good squad, you know, run and gun team. Every single one have their own unique individuality. But with Burning Fox as well, they've been improving as the week's gone on. Prophet King, you know, I've spoken to him before, bit Godsmacked with what he said, but what he said was true, just going in with absolute full confidence. They feel like they can do anything here, and that's the kind of team you really need here, Ollie.
It definitely is, you know, and you can't really put too much of a price on those players that are going to step up on any given occasion when required. Those are the real standout players that you need. And coming off their win last week against Secret, they're going to be pleased with that. That's going to be a really big confidence booster for them, you know, just being able to close out a game to such a high standard.
Grizzly and Gorgona last week came out and had an absolute storm against Secret, and that's what they needed. Was they need to start developing that now. They need consistency. They need those two to be stepping up and being those stalwart fraggers so that the rest of the team can do a job around them. Omar's also had a great week in both Playdays, as I remember last week. So they've got names across the board there, and they can certainly do it. And what I want to see from the rest of this season for Burning Foxes is now just that development towards consistency, but also just sort of broadening the playbook a little bit, giving themselves a few more options here and there, getting those other players firing and able to step up and hit those 1v2, 1v3s when they do get left like that. But what a promise in this roster, what a promise.
And with Randy's, Ollie, what do you feel like they need to do to try and solidify a win somehow, some way? Because we know it's going to be very difficult for them, but they definitely got the players to make it happen.
I think it's almost strange that you use the word solidify there, because for me, I think the last thing that they want to be is solid and predictable. I think they really do just need to play off the fact that we've got a team of gunners there, everybody more than capable of going out and getting a load of kills. Everyone more than capable of that clutch situation, and that's what I'd be looking for out of those guys. Just go out there and give it your A game.
It's interesting that you say that, because it's something that I said last week. What Randy's need to be is unpredictable. That is their major strength, is coming in and teams having absolutely no clue what they're going to do. There's no point watching VODs of them. There's no point seeing, you know, what they did last week, because you know they're not going to do the same this week. So you just turn up and play what's in front of you. We've got the quote coming in there in No Thumbs We Believe, the Randys. They know where it's at. I don't think he's here tonight. I think we've got Cured in as substitute for him, but No Thumbs, he had a decent week last week. He didn't do too bad at all.
No, he didn't. I think it was the first Playday where he really shined compared to the rest of his team. He was doing phenomenal work throughout the entire team, and we do have another quote from Omar, a little bit more of a serious one here. Give us a year and UK competition will dominate the European scene. We are doing everything we can to be one of those teams. And do you know what? We've had two so far. We've had the previous MnM, or now Na'Vi, from the first is from last year, and then we've got this time round the ex-MnM, now Crazy. And to be fair, it's one of those situations you kind of normally see once every 5 years, once in a blue moon. It's very, very rare. And to see it twice in the space of a year, potentially a year, depending on how far Crazy can go in CL, it's unheard of. Yeah,
it's really nice. And I think, you know, maybe the blueprint to that is get picked up by MnM. I don't know if that's maybe the answer to everyone's problems, because they do seem to be the org at the minute that are able to churn out that talent and to put you in a position to be in that Challenger League or further on. So Burning Foxes maybe snapping at the heels.
It's an absolute pleasure for us. It makes our job easier. You know, we've got all these great teams to cast. You look at, obviously, Secret having a bit of a blip at the minute, but you know, another UK team there, Burning Foxes, coming through as well. We've got at least 4 really good rosters. We've got Fierce make that 5, Demise make that 6. Our job gets easier and easier when we've got that great player. The better the players, the easier it is to cast and the more fun we have with it. And you can see that week on week in Prem with how much we enjoy what we do. It's great.
The strat is join MnM. That's literally it. Once you join, the skill, everything just comes towards you. Like, you know, you don't even have to need to practice all the grind. It's just automatically there. But Ace, let's start with you with the picks and bans. Let me pick your brains and tell me what you're thinking at this moment in time.
Well, we know that Randys are always going to want a bit of a crazy gunfight map. I'd see them going towards a coastline or a clubhouse here. We've got Border and Cafe off the books. Somebody like Burning Foxes, I think it would benefit them to head somewhere like Consulate maybe, if they could get that. I don't think they're going to get all the way to a strat-heavy map like Villa, but personally I think we'll probably see clubhouse here.
I'm going to counter that. I think that we're going to see... I really doubt that we're going to see anything too strat-heavy, like you say. We're not going to see a bank, we're not going to see a Villa. I think if I was to make a prediction, I would go coastline pretty heavy.
Just because of the gunfights, really.
Yeah,
you know,
I think it benefits both teams.
We'll have to see from that, because it looks like coastline has been banned
longest
already.
again.
It's going to be you, isn't it?
Second.
So it is going to be Consulate.
I did mention Consulate in there.
Well, if you mention them all.
To be fair, I mentioned 2. I said Consulate Clubhouse, really. Consulate, I think, like I said, I think gunfight heavy suits Randys, and it's no surprise to see Burning Foxes take coastline and clubhouse out of it. I think they know that the closest they can get to sort of strat heavy or strat based is Consulate. They were never going to get allowed to have a bank or a Villa in there. No surprise to see Randys take them out of there. We've come onto the middle ground, and that's sort of what I was thinking.
I think you have to be honest, Ollie, as well. I think Burning Foxes did have a bit of a feeling that they wanted to go for coastline, and there was a ban straight away. There's no surprises there, surely.
And that could be a little bit of a read that you could make onto Burning Foxes, saying that they're maybe not as confident to go into such a gunfight-heavy map, and they do want to be able to rely a little bit more on that strategy.
I feel like you're onto me a little bit with just mentioning lots of map names through the prediction phase as well.
Do you know what? I might just mention every single map. So whatever comes out, I'll just be like, see, I did actually mention that earlier on, so it's not actually
That's
too
how you
bad.
get them half points. They all add up, Harry.
At least I'll get at least 2 2 out of 4 if that does happen. Yeah. But let's have a look what you guys thought at home. Who you think's going to actually win this game? And Burning Foxes, 75%, a slightly larger margin there, Race.
I think there's a bit of sleeping going on there on Randy's. And don't sleep on Randy's. Personally, in the predictions, we do get pushed from production to have some predictions every week. I did go Burning Foxes. I do think that the teamwork will win out here, but don't sleep on Randy's.
Absolutely not, and we are going to go into that first match straight away. Randy's versus Burning Foxes. Guys, I'm going to let you take it away.
Here we are then, ESL Premiership, another week, another play day. We have our first game of the evening, Burning Foxes versus Randy's, and hold on to your hats. This could be one of the games of the season. I don't want to overbill it, X, but I'm excited about this one.
This one is the one that we said is going to be the game to watch tonight, and I think quite nicely, in the predictions that we give to production, you went Burning Foxes and I went Randy. So we're sat on either side of the table at the moment, Tim. And I think that's always a nice place to be for a little bit of friendly competition between these two teams.
It certainly is. Into the ban phase, we are well and truly now. Hibana and Capitao going out, playing on Consulate. Not too much of a surprise. Hibana, not one that we always see banned out, but having the hard breach removed on Consulate is not unusual in one way, shape or form. You know, Thermite, generally the more popular ban out of the hard breach if you're going to take one out here.
Yeah, definitely. And the fact that Hibana was banned, it leaves the Nomad open, hence the Valkyrie ban now coming in as well, as you do not want to have a Nomad available and not have that Valkyrie to be able to peek onto it. So Valkyrie getting rightly removed there. And this last ban is likely to be one of those power trio. It is going to be Mirror in this case. So that means that Echo and Maestro both available. They're operators that Randy's could choose to use in this first phase, as we have seen a lot of use out of those two operators here on this map. Maestro in particular, those bulletproof cameras can be so valuable.
We will be heading very, very quickly into round number 1 then. We will just be going through and selecting the teams. First of all, we can see the attacking side. First of all will be Burning Foxes. Now, on Consulate recently, we have seen a trend towards the attackers. It has certainly become more difficult to defend here on Consulate than maybe it has been historically. So we'll have to see if that continues tonight. We have Penguin coming out, baiting the clash, but he will drop that and bring out the Pulse. I really like Pulse for this map. We're in console office meeting room to begin with, so we are up on the top floor, but Pulse can have some great use. He can play all the way down in the basement and still feed an absolute ton of information back to his team from all the way down there, either in the archive side of basement or in garage. He can use that heartbeat scanner right up the walls to the top floor, and he can feed in an absolute ton of information.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's something that we often talk about here, is we often talk about the amount of information that can be gathered by that Pulse. Now, the lack of an IQ on the side of the attackers is going to mean that that information is going to be sort of very free to gain for Penguin. He's not going to get hunted down all too quickly. They're going to be instead relying on drones to make that happen. Certainly worth mentioning, Tim, that we do have a bit of an update to the Observer client there.
We do.
If anybody watched Invitationals, this was the same Observer system that they used at Invite. Now, you've cast on this before. I have not, so going to be a little bit of a learning curve for me, I'm sure, and maybe anybody watching at home, but I think we can all agree it is a lot better.
Yeah, it's a great system. I absolutely loved it. You've got a lot of information to hand there. You can see we've got this lovely expanded view where it gives us all the information on utility, on kills, deaths, assists. It's got even the objectives on there, so you've got 4 numbers in that order: kill, assist, death, and objective. You've got all sorts on there, and it's great. It will shrink out of sight very soon when we start looking into individual operators and whatnot. You've got a little nice restricted view as well. But yeah, it's fantastic. I really, really like the new view and all the information that you've got to hand. So back to the game in question. 45 seconds in, we can see slow progress being made by Burning Foxes here. It looks like we're going to have a yellow stairs push coming in, that just being set up. The jump out's being covered by those Nomad air jabs, and it looks like Grizzly now is going to head up on to the window, the bathroom rappel by the looks of things, just to hold down that angle. We've got a Narkic there, just using those console office windows, just popping in a EMP as well, just to try and clear out any gadgets that might be in there. 1 minute 50, and Randy's are looking reasonably good at this point. They are keeping Burning Foxes out of the map, but what Burning Foxes are doing here is just building up that position ready to execute. But the first kill will come in, JTC and onto Anarchic, so that is the Thatcher off the board. That's not necessarily a great start for Burning Foxes there.
No, not really, and like you say, very slow progress as well. You do often see coordinated teams being able to take yellow stairs fairly quickly, as it is largely a utility sink. You're going to want to make sure that you're burning out all those ADSs and frag grenading out those players required. As it stands, Rendy will be doing a lot of the hard work from that west window, as he's going to be able to take down JTC, who's just sat inside of Cubby. That kill will go traded, however, as Keenan grabs one back in return. Things at this stage for Burning Fox is not looking great. They're getting short on time now as we enter this final minute, and still a lot of information being gathered by Penguin. Still got the heartbeat scanner and a C4 in hand, and that's another kill going in favour of Randy's.
Another kill indeed, 4 versus 2 now, and this one definitely going in the favour of Randy's. And it really just felt like Burning Foxes were a little bit tentative. We commented on it. They got themselves into positions externally, but they haven't been great at pushing into the map and getting any access. And that is one of the criticisms of Consulate sometimes, is that it can be very difficult to approach and get into the map. We can see Rendy doing a little bit of work there. He's now on a double kill. This is going to end up an ace if he actually wins this round out. He's 1 versus 3, 20 seconds on the clock. I would be very surprised from here. Anything that we see in terms of kills is more than likely going to be impactless. He's pretty much only got the option here of getting these kills with 3 men on the board. It's highly unlikely that he's going to be able to move in and get a diffuser down. He is dominating those yellow stairs, but ultimately will miss his shots onto Keenan, who will finish things off for Randy's, taking round number 1.
Yeah, a good round there from Randy's, and I think something that we were going to expect from them. They weren't going to be playing at such a steadfast play style. We were expecting a little bit more loose and fast, as it were, and that's really what we got to see there. A lot of information being gathered on the roam, particularly by Penguin, and that then allowed Keenan to work off that information. So great communication there.
Yeah, Randy's absolutely solid there. They just didn't set up. They didn't panic. Yeah. They didn't even really move that much. They were happy in their angles. They were never forced. They were never really disrupted, and that's something Burning Foxes need to adjust quickly. They need to start forcing those defenders to rotate, starting them to move around, and probably for me the answer there is start pushing in from the admin side as well. They were very yellow stairs focused. You know, we see teams be successful with that. Teams like MnM, Crazy now. We see them. That's number 2. We see them come in and absolutely dominate those yellow stairs, and it is perfectly possible. But if you're getting into those situations where you're not really forcing the defenders to move, you're not getting inside the building, next time you attack that site, you need to think about it and get yourself in from the admin side and just create that push. We can see back into the game now. We've even got game sound.
We have. Thank you very much for bearing with us during that. We get everything sorted out. And we now get to see Randy's are going to take us downstairs into Garage. Now, they had a fairly good defense upstairs of top floor. Garage is going to be a little bit different because things work in slightly different ways. This time they're opting to not bring the pulse, which is interesting because I think that did a lot of work for Penguin. Instead, he's going to be switching over onto the Mozzie and maybe looking to try and remove a lot of that information that was trying to be gathered by Burning Foxes, because they are a more coordinated team. They are going to be used to using their drones in a much more efficient manner.
They are indeed, and we know how important information can be. They do have the Mozzie there, so they don't have the mute. That's a combination that we do see quite often, the Mozzie mute, and it just can deny access to drones to an entire floor and just keep those attackers really blind from information and not able to feed that back in. We can see quite an aggressive stance being held here from Penguin, just at the vending machines outside of Piano there. He's just waiting for any pressure to be applied to yellow stairs. Now, looking through the list of defenders, we do have a Cade, but we don't have a Bandit. So we're not going to have anybody playing for the hard bandit trick on Garage Door. It will be down to Western to try and defend that potentially with those Cade Electroclaws, but it won't probably be sort of excessively hardly held, if you will.
No, he's going to try and hold that from upstairs instead. Keenan there, he's got the nice line of sight, which is going to mean that he's going to be able to see anybody coming through that garage door breach, as the garage door is very likely to get open. And you can see it is going to be open in both sides there. But again, not a lot of control of top floor here for Burning Foxes, and that really is going to be crucial. You need to have control of Piano if you're going to try and cut off this roam game. It's no good just being able to walk in through the breach, because if there are still players like Keenan playing upstairs and with that vertical angle, they are going to punish you as you flood on into side.
So we can see we are now 1 minute 30 into the round, 5 versus 5, and this sort of slow progress is becoming sort of indicative of the game that we're going to see. Grizzly will get the first kill this time for Burning Foxes. That went in the other direction last time around. A great second from Grizzly, and I commented on Grizzly and Gorgona's performance last time out against Team Secret, and that's something the Burning Foxes certainly need to see more of in this fixture. And Arctic getting one for himself as well. That now leaves us 5 versus 2. Diffuser going down. Ormoz is in sight, and that was a real attempt of a jump out there from Penguin, but he will be read and shut down by Gorgona, and that leaves us Diffuser down. Keenan in a 1 versus 5. First kill onto Anarchic. This is going to have to be an ace clutch from Keenan if he has any chance here, which he does not, as Gorgona will shut him straight down, and that way round 2 going to Burning Foxes. 1-1 now.
You've really got to question how Grizzly was allowed to just stroll his way on into sight there from Archive's side. I'm not too sure if the call-out didn't come through, because he actually got a kill on his way to that location, but then he was just allowed to waltz on in, and it was kills for free at that point. There was pressure from both sides. It was much better than the kind of sort of pressure that we saw Burning Foxes, or the lack of pressure, should I say, that we saw Burning Foxes with in round number 1. They were able there to set up a really nice pinch, get that garage door open, get some pressure coming in from the Archive side, and all of a sudden the site becomes a very small place for those defenders to hide. And if your roamers aren't able to rotate back quick enough, it is going to spell disaster.
Disaster indeed, and that was the case for Randy's there. I'm sure they won't take too much pain from that. They're going to be heading back to Garage. They obviously think that they were within range of that. We're not going to see a massively different lineup. We do have the Legion that I don't think we had last time out, but other than that, Jaeger, Vigil, Mozzie and Cade, which we saw last time around. It can be very difficult to keep hold of this Garage door, being that it's a triple wall. It's a nice to have. If you can keep it closed, then you're generally sort of halfway towards winning the round. But in order to achieve that, it can be very, very difficult. You've got the option of the Bandit, obviously, but Bandit is, at this level, competitively, very easy to clear out. You can get onto Piano window with an Ash, you can get into a Piano with a Buck, you can open the floor up, and that is Bandit's day done. You can even get in through Yellow Stairs door, and again, it's very easy to move him away. So Cade does just offer you that distance approach onto the garage door with the electricals that are, of course, thrown, but they are more difficult. The timing, particularly to trick a thermite charge, is very difficult.
It's a really strange choice here from Randy's, because they're choosing to hold upstairs in console, and we can see Penguin again making those holes into the floor, so he's going to be able to see down into Piano, and then if he opens that floor up as well, he will be able to see down into the breach. But last time it didn't really come to anything. The wall got opened and we saw a flood of attackers coming through the breach. Instead, what we do see teams doing sometimes is hold Piano instead, hold bathroom and drop the hatch when appropriate, because it gives you much more opportunity for rotating back down onto site and being of impact, as opposed to trying to pick kills off through very narrow, skinny holes.
Garage wall opened within 45 seconds again. As I said, very difficult. We could see that Cured was in there with the Cade. We saw him throw that electrical charge, but it's just so difficult to time it. You have to be precisely aware of when the thermite is placing the charge, because of the sort of charge length to activate that electrical. It's just once that thermite charge is on the wall, it takes too long. Grizzly moving in with the first kill again. Gorgona backing him up, and those two really are starting to fire. Gorgona with a double on the round now, taking Western off the board, leaving us very quickly in a 5 versus 2. Ormoz is looking to get the diffuser down. He is only seconds away from doing so. This is almost a carbon copy of the last round. The diffuser will be active, and Keenan will lose his life out on Yellow Stairs, leaving Penguin this time with the chance of a 1 versus 5 ace clutch, but it's not going to be easy. He's moving down Yellow Stairs. Keenan already lost his life down here. We can see the results of that all over the wall. What a great shot from Penguin there, but the nade comes in, distracts him, and Anarchic will finish things off for Burning Foxes. And I tell you what, this is looking like a very different team to that first round on the top floor.
Yeah. Burning Foxes coming out all force here on the garage objective, and well, Randy's just can't seem to make anything stick whatsoever. They're now going to be given the opportunity to go back upstairs, but with the way that the last 2 rounds have gone, they're going to be a bit demoralised at this moment in time, because they have just been ran over. We've not even seen any kills to speak of on the side of Randy's. They're not even able to win those gunfights. They're just getting forced and funneled and picked off one at a time. No trade potential, and the roamers just aren't getting themselves back to site quite quick enough to impact. It's just allowing such a flood of attackers into site, and it's not something that we see. You know, Burning Foxes, as the attackers, they're doing something a little bit unusual here. They're getting the garage wall open, and then they're just flooding site from two sides. They're not giving any sort of thought or anything to the roam game that's going out there. They're not going out chasing the kills because they know there's a likelihood they're going to lose somebody in the process, and instead they're just going to cut everybody off when they come back down to site. They've done that successfully now, 2 rounds in a row.
We often talk about this option, and it's not an easy thing to do, isn't ignore a roam game. You can get hurt dramatically and quickly by doing so, but if you can get it right, if you can judge it right, and it's all about really distance from site for the roamers. If they are unable to get back to site within a couple of seconds and start attacking your flanks and start hurting you, if you judge that right and your information is correct that they are further away than that couple of seconds, you do have the option of just rushing straight into site, demolishing it before they can even get back and make an impact, and then ultimately all they're doing is fighting against their own utility, against their own reinforcements, and leaving a roam game out in the cold can be a very, very viable tactic, but it can be a difficult one to judge. But Burning Fox is judging it perfectly down there on console. We can see Weston just taking a little bit of damage there. He was looking for a peak, but it just shows that Grizzly and Burning Foxes are right on their game tonight, and they are ready for any sort of peak or jump out attempt. So I think that will just be a little warning shot to Randy's there, that maybe that is not the way to go. And I like to see this, X. Burning Foxes, they did not get into the map quickly enough last time, and they died trying to do so. This time we've got Gorgona on the Jackal. He's got a couple of kills under his belt now. Confidence is up, and he's moving in there quickly. That is what Burning Foxes need to do.
In addition to this yellow stairs push, which again last time, whilst it did go ahead and they did manage to burn the utility, they didn't really gain anything from it. Nothing was built off the back of it. This time it does look as though they're paying a little bit more attention to it. However, there is nobody going to be playing on those yellow stairs. Instead, we've got Penguin playing at the bottom of these stairs. Now, his angle here is he's just going to want to wait and see if anybody repels in through the window. If that happens, then it's going to be a nice, easy kill for him. But Gorgona underneath. There is a little bit of to and fro here, and it's a really important position for Penguin to be in. He's now going to come to blows, and what about that for some information and drone work? Gorgona getting fed direct coordinates to Penguin's head and able to take that as a very easy firefight indeed. Nothing lost whatsoever in that engagement.
That is exactly what Burning Foxes needed in comparison to last time. They were unable to get in and root out those roamers, get in and root out those defenders that were holding tight angles, and Gorgona has done that fantastically well on the Jackal. Let's see how good the rest of the information is here. He is going to be challenged. Does he lose his life there? He will go down to half health, but it looks like he just manages to wriggle away there to fight another day on yellow stairs. And let's not forget, on Consulate, you've got all sorts of options, but JTC will take Rendy off the board, leveling the man count now, 4 versus 4, and this is the sort of option that I was talking about. Gorgona trying to move round and flank his man through circle desk, but he will be hit by the cover from meeting Cured, taking him off the board and giving that advantage once again to Randy's. They certainly seem a lot more comfortable, a lot more stable defending up here on the top floor.
Yeah, they don't really need to peek onto anything here. They're just happy to play these angles. Cured there picking up his second kill of the round, and that's going to be diffuser down on the balcony. Now it's down to Grizzly to rotate up, but instead he's just going to get himself in through benches and be greeted by Keenan. Keenan still not being finished off since his location's been known for quite some time now, but as the Vigil, he's able to keep himself relatively well hidden. And Narkic now will have it all to do in 10 seconds. He's only got 4 kills to find, so it's about a second a kill at this point, and it's going to be a nice round here for Randy's. So far unbeaten on this top floor.
No diffuser in hand and no kills to be found there at the end for an Arctic. 2 apiece now. Randy's far more comfortable on the top floor than the bottom. I think we've learnt that much at least, but that will leave them in a 4-2 deficit more than likely if they have to go and they can't find wins elsewhere now. It is really important that you can find the wins on other sides at a competitive level. You can't be a one-site defensive team.
No, definitely not. I think the decision to go back to Garage, you've got to start to question that, because Burning Foxes have got such a good handle of how they want to try and defend it. How they want to try and attack it. As the defenders, you really need to be bringing something revolutionary to the table here. I can see that Cured's picked onto the Bandit. I'm not worried by that, but it's as you said earlier, there's no real way to hold that wall with Bandit at this level. you need to hold piano instead.
If you manage to hold the wall at this level, that's because the attackers have made big mistakes, generally speaking. It's a triple wall. You can place your thermite anywhere along it. You know, the bandit really shouldn't be able to predict that. The only options you've got as the bandit are you charge all the wall and then you lose 3 to the first EMP and you've only got 1 to juggle, or you do a couple of them and then you listen on the last wall to try and place the battery if it does get, place the battery if the thermite charge does go on there. But it's a very difficult job because, to be honest, you shouldn't even be allowed to place charges at that point because it should be getting cleared out from the piano area. For me, looking at the site options, why not go lobby? They've just defended top floor so well. Lobby is pretty much a top floor holder anyway. Why not play to your strengths and get yourself up there again?
Go to split.
Go anywhere.
Go to Tellers and Archives. Just really throw a cat among the pigeons. Do something quite unpredictable. This is what we've been asking of you, Randys. We want you to be that unpredictable team. And so far, you're getting predicted very easily by Burning Foxes. They're able to come in here, and you can see they're not going to be too concerned about the bandit batteries here on the wall. We can already see ADS is getting burnt. Thatcher EMP is going to go out. The nade there is going to remove Bandit from being able to sit in the right position. Instead, he can only bandit trick onto the furthest wall, and well, that wasn't the wall that the exothermic charge got placed on. Under 50 seconds to open the wall, not bad going at all. And a kill to boot, and Narkic finding one onto Weston as the Mozzie there just getting picked off on the roam.
As I said, that triple wall is a nightmare to hold because the bandit can only... What a shot from Grizzly just to interrupt my point there. Absolutely removing the head of Penguin in piano, just shooting over the shoulder of that alibi Prisma. That was an absolute beauty. And here we can see the flood onto site that has been so indicative of this Burning Foxes ground floor attack. Rendy gets 1, but 2 come in for Randys along the way and leave us now in a 3 versus 2. This is certainly doable, but things just got a lot more difficult as Gorgona gets in and gets the kill onto Cured. Keenan now finds himself once again last man alive in the basement. Ormoz is thinking about getting that diffuser down, but he will just come off it for the time being. Something seems to have spooked him, but he will get himself on there now, and with only 2 seconds to go, I think we will see that plant successful once again, and that now leaves us 3 versus 1. Barely has the diffuser touched the ground and been activated, then Grizzly steps through and gets that final kill onto Keenan, and that will be advantage Burning Foxes once again.
Randy's got a lot of questions to start asking themselves there. They're going for the extended roam again and again and again, and it just really isn't working for them. You can already see there is a little bit of confusion there in the site. We did see a flash of Tellers and Archives, and I must admit I did get excited for a moment. But instead, they're going to take us over to lobby. This is going to be the last round of their defense. And well, to put it bluntly, they kind of need to win this one to take it at a 3-3 split, because a 4-2 split doesn't really look great on Consulate.
It's going to be tough, and I think Randy's playstyle, if anything, sort of suits them on defense more than it does attack, because if you think about it, normally speaking, the attack is difficult to predict anyway. You know, you don't know what an attack's going to do. Ultimately, an attack just always will be reacting to the defensive setup. So it can be different round on round on round on round. So as a competitive team on defense, you need to expect the unexpected from attackers. You need to be prepared to wait a minute into the round to see exactly what they're doing, where they're pushing from, what they are going to attempt. So for me, unpredictability and that element of surprise that Randy's can bring to the table is more powerful for them on defense. Runouts, peaks, those sorts of things whereby they can take the attackers by surprise. Whereas that's, you know, you're almost expecting the unexpected when you're on defense because you don't know what the attackers are going to do. So I think Randy's, if they don't come out 3-3 here, I think they've lost their opportunity to play their biggest strength, really, which is that unpredictability.
We're going to be holding this largely from top floor, as that is the norm for a lobby defense. Looks as though we're going to be seeing some attempted spawn peaks, or at least some windows open to give the attackers something to think about. Again, something that we've maybe not seen enough of from Randy's is that early aggression. They do benefit quite greatly from getting that opening kill in the round. They do tend to convert about 65% of the rounds that they actually get the opening kill in. In contrast, if they suffer an opening death, they only win 33% of the time. So very big stark contrast in the numbers there, and it does just go to show how much these guys rely on trading off the back of one another.
Keenan very, very aware of a man out on the rappel there. He is being put under more and more pressure here, and this is not an ideal position for the Echo. Nade comes in, will miss this time. He needs to keep himself tight against that wall. He can't risk losing his life. We know how important the Yokai drones are in the late round. We can see all the pressure being applied to that south side wall. At the minute, the problem for me for this Burning Fox's attack is a lack of pressure being applied to that top floor. Penguin gets the opening kill onto Grizzly, but Ormoz will trade that out with one of his own onto Cured, leaves us 4 versus 4 now. And for me, Burning Foxes need to think about that top floor, because even if they move in and get control over this mid floor, it can still be fully defended from upstairs and plants denied. JTC getting one for his team as well, leaving us now in a 4 versus 3, 1 minute 30 left on the clock, and I just feel like Burning Foxes are a little bit out of ideas here. And there is the aggression we were talking about. Penguin comes out and gets Randy as he goes, and that is now a real situation that Burning Foxes are facing.
Almost finds one in return onto Keenan before Anarchic picks up another, quickly leveling out that scoreboard at 2 apiece. We did see Randy's briefly in a slight advantage there, but already Burning Foxes have managed to pull that back, and they've still got a minute here left to work with. The plant is in the hands of Omoz, and well, if he gets position, he may look to try and get that down, but at the moment they're still trying to search out for these kills. We've got Anarchic, he's going to be playing just inside of benches as well. Weston's going to be there to finish him off and get the second. A 2k there for Weston to close things out for Randy's, and the 3-3 split that they're going to be kind of happy with at the end of the first half.
That is exactly what they needed. They really did need to level things up there. And again, as I said, Burning Foxes just short of ideas on that top floor, and I sort of suggested it coming into this, that part of Burning Fox's development going forward is going to need to be broadening the horizons a little bit, extending that strat book and just gaining a few more options in situations like that. A minute and a half into the round, you've got 3 on mid-floor south wall repelling externally. Guess what? It's not happening. You can see that it's not happening. It's going to be a tough nut to crack. You need the option. You need the player who's going to make that mid-round call and say, this isn't working. We need to take top floor. Let's go. Admin, console, let's push at the same time. Let's get onto yellow stairs. You need the player who's going to give you those options, and then you can move around and you can do that. And there was just no rotation coming out from Burning Foxes, and certainly not quick enough.
And there's only so many cheap kills you can get as well, Tim. You know, you can only get so many kills on an upside down rappel looking into that anti-chamber area, because you're not going to get peeked, and there are small crevices that you can hide in, as demonstrated by Keenan, almost trying to melt himself into that corner to get away from all the pressure that he was seeing. Burning Foxes there, really one-dimensional approach, which is a shame, because the way that they've been attacking onto basement and garage has been really two-dimensional and really dynamic. They just seem to lack it once again as soon as they go onto the upper levels here on Consulate. A 3-3 split, are Burning Foxes going to be happy with that? I'd maybe say not, off the back of how powerful they were and how dominating they were on those attacks onto garage. That being said, this is now a good opportunity for Randy's to just get themselves together, give themselves a little bit of composure and say, okay, we defended and we played really well on this top floor. Let's just continue that now that we're on attack.
I just feel like Randy's must be coming away from that sort of thinking, I wish we'd played more rounds on lobby instead of garage. You know, they had 3 attempts on garage. They suffered a diffuser plant every single time that they went down there. By contrast, round 2 instead of garage could have been lobby. Round 4 instead of garage could have been lobby, and they could be 4-2 up here and just lost those 2 rounds on garage, whereby they rotated back to sites they're more comfortable with.
Weston there with some good intel on a drone. Pre-fire shots coming straight out as soon as he got in through admin. And an admin clear coming out from Randy's here. Not wasting any time on yellow stairs, recognizing it is being held to some degree by Burning Foxes. I do believe it's going to be Randy playing on those yellow stairs. Instead, already we're seeing this two-dimensional approach, but Grizzly is going to shut it down, continuing that fine form he saw playing on the Nomad, this time on defense on the Legion. He's going to be able to remove the head onto Penguin very quickly indeed. Nice early kill there, because it removes a lot of the pressure that Randy's were looking at putting on that west rappel.
IQ off the board as well, important utility for the attackers to be able to get in. You look at the operators that they're up against, players like the Legion, Grizzly there. Those goo mines can be so impactful in the late round, and the IQ is the perfect operator to get in, locate them and clear them out, but that will no longer be available. They do still have the Thatcher, but those EMP grenades are limited. We see one going in there, followed by the lifeline from Zafia. JTC going to get the drone out there and just see again what information can be found here. But Randy's just suffering the same problem that Burning Foxes were on attack, and that's just a little bit of a lack of pace. They've got themselves into admin quickly, but they've not really been able to do anything with that control. Burning Foxes, by contrast, have been happy to sit down in console, bathroom, yellow stairs, and just hold their line and let Randy's come and move into their line of sight, and for that, they find themselves 5-3 in the advantage with 50 seconds to go.
That being said, it does look as though Cured has got a plant opportunity here, as a lot of the players for Burning Foxes have actually foregone that top floor and dropped down to the first floor. So the plant almost certainly going to start going down ever so shortly as the push does continue to come on through. We now see JTC. He's going to be able to push himself down the yellow stairs, but is it going to be enough? Grizzly on the flank. He's going to be coming up those yellow stairs, and we've got Gorgona watching all the way through 2 hatches as well. 20 seconds left remaining, still a lot of work left here to do for the attackers, and some of these defenders are in prime locations to pick up late rotation kills at this point in the round. We have seen a sight drop come out there from JTC. Keenan finds one onto Omos. The push has to come through, but it won't be enough. A slew of kills and Burning Foxes on the right end of all of them.
On the right end of them, indeed, and that will put them now 4-3 advantage, and that defence was pretty solid, I think it's fair to say. Brandy's, I like what they were doing. They were trying to do something different. We haven't seen the admin push yet tonight. They got themselves good early control of that area, but as I commented at the time, Burning Fox is quite happy to just sit at the opposite side of the map. They had an ACOG up there, and they could just challenge from the console area, from the bathroom area, from the yellow stairs area, and it made it very, very difficult for Randy's to make any meaningful progress across that top floor, and ultimately they were left with last 20-second hatch drops trying to get into sight to get into a position to get that diffuser down. So that was a successful hold of lobby there, and it's no surprise to see it getting followed up with an Archives Tellers, because once again it's a fairly similar hold. You can keep hold of that top floor, try and keep control over Tellers. You do need to be careful of the potential for the rush through garage. That's what makes this a tricky site. Being split across 2 floors, if you put too many men downstairs to hold the garage, you're going to get hit from admin and into Tellers. If you put too many men in admin, you're going to get hit from garage across the basement floor, and that is the question that you have to answer in this one. But let's remember, Archives can be defended from Visas and Tellers. So for me, hold admin, hold Visas, hold Tellers, and Archives you can pretty much look after from there.
It's also a really sensible site choice from Burning Foxes, because we've spoken about Randy's at length now, and they aren't a coordinated team. They're not out there practicing and scrimming. They maybe haven't practiced how they want to attack onto this site in particular, and that's going to really cause them some trouble when we get down into the crux of this round, because it's then going to take them a lot more time to try and formulate that plan. Weston still outside of sight. Diffuser on the ground, not looking too good for him right now. 9 seconds left, and he is in the 1 versus 2. He's recovered the diffuser, but unlikely to be given the time or space to get the plant down. Left just trying to pre-fire onto common spots, baits the diffuse, but ultimately runs out of time. And that's kind of what we suggested, that Randy's, while they did have a very good show in there and they won some important gunfights, they just couldn't clinch it at the end.
It's a difficult site to attack. You can win your gunfights on any site in the game, but making them effective wins in a way to get you in, get control of an area and get diffuser down, that is a completely different ball game, and that is exactly what Randy saw there. They came in and they were trading kills 1 for 1, 1 for 1, but the kills they were gaining weren't getting them any map control, weren't getting them into a position where they could think about getting the diffuser down. That round was won by Omos and Anarchic. Echo and Mute, they played in Archives the whole time, they didn't leave sight, and they were the ones who won it for their team come the end.
The biggest kill was Penguin onto Rendy, because then they got control of Tellers, but the diffuser was still downstairs in Blue Corridor. And at that point, had somebody rotated back upstairs, tried to use the air jabs to try and cut off some of that rotation, and they would have been able to switch the push a little bit. Penguin had site control for God knows how long. Keenan was there with him, ready to back him up as well, and they just ended up walking single file almost into Omars and Anarchic, and the round was easy for Burning Foxes, but it shouldn't have been. There was an opportunity there for Randy's, and I feel like they've really dropped the ball on that one a little bit.
That's where your teamwork comes in. You know, this is, as we keep saying, we don't want to give Randy's excuses week after week, but they don't scrim together. They turn up and they play for Prem, and that is exactly the sort of sharp edge that you're going to be lacking when you don't have that practice in between. You don't have that crispness, you don't have that sort of step-by-step teamwork, diffuser in the right place, you know, everything where you need it to be at any given moment, especially not when things don't work out. So we could see there quite clearly that that was an archives push through Garage from Randy's. So that's why the diffuser was there, but they don't have that IGL, they don't have that player that's saying, right, actually we're rotating up to tell us, bring the diffuser, get it up there. You know, they're not thinking on that level. They're going in, they're having the gunfights. If the opportunity presents itself, they're getting the diffuser down. But it just didn't, and that's why Omars and Anarchic was so important there. They held back that flow of attackers, they got the diffuser down on the ground, and they just prevented them from being able to make that rotation.
Garage is going to be the setting for round number 9 then, as Burning Foxes looking to try and get themselves onto that match point. And well, for Randy's, again, a bit of a do-or-die round, because as soon as you start to go up against that match point, Burning Foxes so far have looked really good on their defensive phase, and you'd think that it would be very difficult for Randy's to start chaining rounds together. Now, the wall into Garage got opened very quickly by Burning Foxes. In contrast, Randy seemed to be taking a little bit more time about it. We did see it open in and around the 40 to 50 second mark from Burning Foxes, and that just allowed them so much time and space to work with. Now, they have seen that it is an Electroclaw. We've droned out that Electroclaw, and now Penguin looks to be making some drone work happen just to see and make sure he's not going to get flanked as the floor starts to get ripped open. Keenan has got himself in. He's been able to find out that Electroclaw with the IQ scanner, and now the wall is open. But at a halfway point in the round, so very slow progress so far.
Certainly compared to Burning Foxes, who moved in very quickly and got that cleared out. But 1 minute 30 left on the clock is plenty of time for Randy's to be able to do this. We can see what looks like a pre-placed Nitro just going off there from Grizzly. 8 and 4 so far. He's having a great game. Gorgona on 7 as well, so that's 15 kills between the two of them in 8 rounds. We can see there a great opener from Weston, and a double as he gets almost JTC with one onto Randy, and this is a landslide in the direction of Randy's here in round number 9, and that now leaves us in a 5 versus 2. They need to think about getting this diffuser in, they need to get that down, keep the pressure on Burning Foxes, do not wait until they suffer another death or two from this Garage area.
Keenan finds one onto Gorgona, and Anarchic does manage to deny the plant, but he's the last one standing now, finds 1 kill onto JTC, but the diffuser is continuing to go down, and now in a post-plant situation, 1 versus 4, it's going to be very difficult for him from here on out. Suffered a heck of a lot of damage there as well, as the push now comes through, finds one onto Penguin. Could this be the dream? No, it's going to get shut down by Keenan on those yellow stairs, and well, what a round there for Randy's. That's going to fire them up somewhat, because there's a lot of influential players there that went out and got a couple of kills, and as soon as they start getting a bit more confidence, we could see them taking this a little bit further, and maybe, who knows, to that magical 6-6 that we do often attract him.
We certainly do. 12 rounds. Almost every time. What did I say? 36 rounds tonight? And I said this would be one of the games of the season, and so far that's what we're seeing. This one's going to go the distance. There is no question of that. I think we're going to see all 12 here. Whether it's a draw or whether somebody can come out and just pip this, I don't know. This round is particularly important here, round number 10. If Randy's can draw level here, it guarantees all 12 rounds, and it really does put them in a position to even come back and carry that momentum through and take the 7-5 win, especially on attack on Consulate. It's something that you see, the momentum team tends to be the one on attack. It tends to be the aggressors, and that is certainly Randy's at the minute. Weston coming out huge when his team needed him there back in round number 9. That was a great double kill from him to start things off, and it really did just all go downhill very quickly for Burning Foxes from there.
And Weston's one of the players that you need to get fired up as well, because he's got a lot of potential to go out there and to get kills and to be that big impact player. Sitting there at 4 kills, 4 deaths, so not setting the world on fire at the moment, but important kills when his team has needed them. And, you know, maybe more importantly, not dying every single round. So doing a good job so far of staying alive. And well, A lot of work yet to do here for Randy's.
And Arkic having a big game so far, but very quietly for Burning Foxes there. He's coming in with 8 kills at the minute, tying himself up with Grizzly in the lead. And that is, well, I've said his name once or twice, but that's some quiet work that he's doing there. It's not been flashy, it's not been big, but that is exactly the sort of consistency that his team needs from him. I said coming into this, we've got Grizzly and Gorgona, we've got Omoz on occasion that are doing big jobs on the fragging side of things. But if the other players can step up too and have that option, and that's exactly what an Arcic's doing.
The dangerous part about the Burning Foxes roster is when Rendy gets going. Because we've seen Rendy before in multiple different settings, really starting to get some kills and chain them together and being that nightmare to deal with on the roam. As soon as that guy starts to find a little bit more of consistent form, I think that's when they get very dangerous indeed.
He's one of those players that looks like he's trying to crawl out of his skin.
Yeah.
When he gets going, it's like he just does not want to be nailed down. He is not going to stay in sight. He's just going to be everywhere. And it's like trying to nail jelly to the wall if you try and shut him down.
Absolutely. JTC on long desk. He's trying to make a bit of an impact onto that deployable shield, but I think instead he will have got eaten up there by an ADS. Just takes a little bit of teamwork there to try and burn it, but a peak almost instantly. But his ACOG sight was just blocking that player that's in around the bathroom area. A lot of progress here, really, to speak of for Randy's. As you can already hear, a lot of things being opened, but with a long line of sight like that into meeting, it's going to be very dangerous indeed. Grizzly opens things up with a kill onto JTC. Keenan trades it straight back out onto Gorgona. Grizzly still being allowed to operate for free on the spiral stairs. Rendy, as if by magic, we were just talking about him. He's stepping things up. He grabs a nice kill there onto Penguin. That's going to put the man advantage in the hands of Burning Foxes. And interestingly, no pressure whatsoever on that spiral repel, which is somewhere that we see particularly teams like MnM, now Crazy, really taking full advantage of, because you can just cut out the ability for players to be that impact on those spiral stairs. And as soon as you get that pinch coming from either side, it really does start to open things up as the attackers. As it stands, a very static approach now for Randy's, as they're obviously formulating a bit of a plan, but I don't think Keenan was planning on that, as Grizzly just wide swings down the bottom of those spiral stairs. And we'll find yet another kill onto the round. Now he's underneath with the Nitro cell in hand, and well, this is going to be looking good for Burning Foxes.
With only one man in the map at present, Western has got a huge job to do. Cured is outside upstairs on that skylight. Western will be taken out by Rendy, and that leaves a huge job for Cured here. 1 versus 4, 12 seconds. He repels into the copy room. He's going to look, see if he can find any heads, see if there is anything at all that he can do. Burning Foxes just need to remain patient. Rendy can't quite do that. He will lose his life for it, but it will ultimately be impactless, as that man, once again, I mentioned him at the beginning of the round, and he's the one that ends it. And Arkic comes in with another important kill for his team, and that will be match point now for Burning Foxes. They've got the opportunity to finish this here and now.
Burning Foxes there with a really good round. They didn't give anything up whatsoever, just allowed Grizzly to play like he does best out there on the roam. And you can see there he has now taken the lead in kills. Double positive, 10 and 5. Well, the side of Randy's just really struggling to find those impact kills and those big trade kills. Rendy as well, really stepping it up in that last round. It was someone that we mentioned earlier on as just, you know, as soon as Rendy starts getting going and gets the wind beneath his sails, he's going to start firing things up. And he got a couple kills there as well, which were very important. But match point now for Burning Foxes. They're going to take us to lobby and press room.
Another important stat that the people at home, the people watching, might not be aware of, because they don't maybe track things quite as closely as we do, because they're not maybe as obsessive. But Grizzly has got the opening kill in 5 out of 10 rounds, and that's not even to count the other players on Burning Foxes that have come in and opened things up for the team. That is just Grizzly on his own. 50% of his kills have been the first one, have been powering his team forward, have been giving them an injection of pace into the round. And I think that could well be one of the differentiating factors come the end here if Burning Foxes are to get the win. Very important entry battles coming out from Grizzly.
And you've got to have those entry battles as well, because those opening kills really do impact very heavily onto the way that rounds play out. Burning Foxes with the opening kill, they're going to be looking to win about 66% of the time. So just a massive advantage there already, whereas if they suffer that as an opening death, they will only convert 28% of those rounds. So big numbers there, very important to be getting that opening kill. And if you've got someone that's like Grizzly who's just able to go out there and it looks like he can do what he wants, he can't really do any wrong tonight, particularly on defense. It does make your job a heck of a lot easier. What about this lineup coming out now from Randy's? It's match point and we're seeing a Monty, a Glaz. These are two operators we've not seen yet tonight, not two operators we see all the time.
Is it 2018?
Is it too little too late?
That's the question. I think it might be. As we have a big double coming out from Gorgona there to start things off. He will be traded out by Cured, but traded out too late. You've got one of your three remaining is now a Monty, and that is never an easy thing. You really want Monty as part of a 4 or 5 man team. He doesn't have the gun always available when he's playing in behind that shield, and it can be very difficult, especially when one of your remaining two alongside him is the Glaz. Don't forget, Glaz suffered those recent nerfs to his scope whereby the sort of thermal imaging doesn't work as he's moving, so it does remain stationary if he wants to do that, and it just slows down that Glaz push. They wanted to stop him being an entry fragger. We know how difficult he was to play against. You just fill a room with smoke and send Glaz in, and everything got a bit crazy. But that sound in my ear tells me that JTC has just picked up a kill on the Glaz, and that will be half of his health gone for the pleasure though, and that is something that Randy's need to be careful of. They can easily lose this by attrition.
You can see there, he's just having to spend an extra couple of seconds to try and see through that smoke, but ultimately will get taken down. Grizzly still playing on those spiral stairs. Rendy finds one in between, and Keenan left as the last man standing. In the 1 versus 3, he does manage to find one down at least. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to convert it. He will onto Grizzly. He's got plenty of time left. He's got a minute remaining, but as a Monty, in the 1v2, it isn't something that we see all too often. He's going to be getting pressured now from both sides. He's going against two big operators, and of course you can't do this without mentioning the Alder. When you're going against that Alder and you're a Monty, you've got a lot of work to do. He's going to bait the plant there and just see if anybody wants to push their way on through. There is a hatch open for him to consider as well, as we have seen a rotation now coming out. Pre-fire shots go out, but again, players will drop. Now, it's very dangerous to start dropping as a 3 armor because you're going to spend quite a long time to get yourself back into the fight.
Get the diffuser down at round desk, please. Keenan's going to go for it now. He puts himself inside the smoke. Rendy is going to push here. Surely this will be the end of things for the Monty, and that will be Burning Foxes taking the win in 11 rounds, giving us a little break. X not going all the way to 12.
Only 1 round break, but
that's as much as we get.
I don't mind when it's a game as good as that. You know, it was a very, very close fought fixture. 7-4, that's a decent scoreline.
Very entertaining game.
Burning Foxes just coming out with essentially more ideas and more kills on the night.
Gorgona will be top of the pops there, but Grizzly also had a fantastic game. We can see there 20 kills between the two of them, and that's not to mention 17 from Anarchic and Rendy, and Ormoz chipping in as well. It was a great team effort from Burning Foxes there. Randy's played their part, but I think ultimately we just saw teamwork winning out on the day there, and I think that comes down to the map pick there, just giving them that slight benefit of the strategy element of Consulate as we suggested at the beginning.
Well, you got a 5-minute break in the day anyway, can't really complain about that. But one of the main storylines there was Randy's in that garage hold 3 times and 3 different scenarios. It's the same thing again and again, not really too many changes, but as you saw there, it was very difficult for it, and it seemed to be the same outcome. Always Keenan, last man standing, trying to fight back in a 1v4 or 1v5. It was pretty heartbreaking for them. Maybe he should have changed sites a little bit sooner.
Ultimately, the garage holds lost them that game.
I'd agree.
There's no two ways about it. They went to lobby and they won the round. Now, that's not to say that you can go lobby every single time and win, but you can't go to garage 3 times and lose it every single time to essentially the same attack.
You've nearly taken them to 12 rounds. All it takes there is 1 or 2 rounds to make the difference. You come out of it with a draw, you even have the opportunity to win it. And we did comment that there was 2 rounds in their defence where they could have gone to a stronger site in lobby than, and even potentially taken an archives and rolled the dice there, than having those 3 attempts at garage that just didn't pan out. And I think ultimately it was just a little bit too much for Randy's to fight back from.
Do you feel like a lot of the attack rounds from Randy's was a little bit slow paced?
I think Randy's on the attack did quite a good job. The only sort of heavy criticism that I would put in their direction is maybe the last round and just the operator selection. I think that they maybe did it to themselves a little bit there to get Keenan in the 1v2. Had he had a weapon there's a chance he's going to clutch it. We've seen Keenan do great things previously. And the round where they were attacking onto the split site, Archive tell us, I think, a little bit more of a dynamic approach, maybe a bit more information exchange between those players to say, look, I'm in a really good position now, get me the diffuser over here and we've got a plant. That could have been a bit of a difference maker as well. But overall, their attacks were okay. They could have just done with being a little bit quicker.
And we have to say, Ace, it's not the first time we've seen a Monty play from Randy's. And funny enough, it was actually not in their favour 6-4 last time, and they did actually bring it back. But this is not Audacity this time round.
It's not, and that's the difference. Like I say, you're just stepping it up a level now. You know, in the Premiership, we've sort of got 3 tiers at the minute, if you will. You've gone into that middle tier there. You know, if you were against a Fierce or a Demise or a Crazy, you know, you're going to get hurt even more at that point. But it's not often, it's not every day that we get to see a Monty knock a Legion over over a handrail and down 2 flights of stairs. So, you know, you don't see that every day.
Yeah, even in that 1v2, he stand a little bit of a chance. He was trying to fake it, trying to do everything he could. But as a Monty on your own, it's knocking on death's door pretty much, really.
You've just not got that many options. I think the only thing he maybe could have tried was to plant in the corner of the room with his back facing the actual room so that his shield would be on his back. But even then, you're clutching at straws. You're still going to get found out.
And what do you feel like Ace they could have done on that garage hole? Because, you know, 3 times, not on the drop, but on a separate occasion, and the same thing happening again and again. Is there any change you'd have felt they should have made in order to maybe try and win that one?
Pick lobby.
Just go straight to lobby and that's fine.
Go for a different side. I think they probably didn't place maybe quite enough importance on not holding garage door, but delaying it being open. We saw it open within 40-50 seconds every single time. And to have more than 2 minutes with 2 panels of that door open is an awfully long time. You really need to be delaying that down to sort of 1 minute 30, 1 minute. Using the Bandit sometimes can help you. I did comment on Bandit is easy to clear away from there, but if you can use him in conjunction with the Cade or possibly with a Mute and just have those multiple options, try and defend Piano, do the best that you can and just try and last out for as long as possible, I think you give yourself a better shot at defending Garage. But I think in Randy's case, yeah, it would have been better to try somewhere else.
Yeah, you know, you did say before on the third time we went on Garage, they did have that Bandit pick, but didn't really make too much of a difference there, you feel like. But vote for your player of the match at ESL UK. Make sure you let us know who you think of one of the 3 members. Should be having that player of the match is Anarchy. Of course, he's been doing very well during that defensive half. Grizzly and Gorgona. To be fair, all 3 of it, I think every single player played their part in some way, one way or another. Especially with Grizzly and Gorgona, especially on the sites as well. Entering the site, even Grizzly the first time round there in Garage, he just went through like it was nothing.
I think whilst everybody played the part, I think if you're not voting for Grizzly, you need to watch the game again because that guy's had one of the best games I've seen him play so far.
I mean, that's a big shout for him there, isn't it? X coming in with strong support for Grizzly. What I like to see from that Grizzly Gorgona, we're starting to see the formation of a real duo there, and I'm enjoying watching them week after week. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's great stuff. And we do have an interview with Prophet King to see what he has to say about that match. Congratulations, my friend. Another win. You're on the roll so far.
Thank you very much. It's about time we started picking our performance up, so appreciate it.
Do you feel like carrying your momentum from when you played against Secret last week has really helped kind of like your confidence level going through towards the second half of the group stages?
Well, I think this week was kind of a completely different week from last week, whereas last week was looking at our opponent and deciding how we would want to play against what we know of them. This week was just playing our own game. We showed up. We knew that we didn't really have to do too much prep work, as Randy's is quite new. There isn't that much on them anyway. So we just showed up, played our game. We've only been playing Consulate for about 4 days, and I'm really proud of how far they've come on that map over the past 4 days. So yeah.
I don't imagine what it would be like once you practiced it for 4 weeks, let alone 4 days anyway. And last question, from us anyway, just for those 3 attack runs on Garage, tell us a little bit more, because did you execute the same plan again and again and just hope for the best? Because every single time it was almost flawless entering the site.
Oh, that's we practiced that 400 times a day, and you know that's all easily rehearsed, but I can't give you much more information than that. Obviously, if you keep posted, I'm sure you'll see much more information about our attacks, but everything we do down to the letter is precise and planned and executed perfectly, especially today. I was really proud of them.
400 times in 4 days, 100 times a day. That's not too bad. That's a massive grind in there. But congratulations, and hopefully we'll see you again tomorrow.
Of course you will. See you tomorrow.
I love him. I love his confidence. It's absolutely ridiculous. You can imagine him giving it as well, like on the stage, with them make it to the Prem finals possibly, Ollie.
Definitely. I quite liked how the light was looking like a bit of a halo around his head.
Prophet King indeed.
I quite like that because obviously his name is Prophet, so it's very fitting.
They've taken a massive step towards a land spot. Let's not make a mistake about that. That's another 3 points on the board for them. Puts them up to 6 now. Gets them the second win. And they've got a couple of matches coming up that they should be winning. They've had some of the difficult fixtures. They've got them out of the way. They've got a win off Secret. Burning Foxes are well on the way towards a land spot potentially. They're going to certainly, I would say, going to be in those playoff areas. And they are a team that we could see there. And that's going to be a big step forward for them. It shows that growth.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the next coming days and their future matches, see what they'll bring to the table. But our next match will be Audacity versus Demise. Can Demise continue where they left off? We'll have to see what happens coming soon.
although the diffuser is down, the question here is how much control do Demise have in this post-plant situation? The answer is not an awful lot. Users will get a kill though, and now Packbull gets caught in a reload. Will he get the shotgun kill? Yes, finishes it off with the knife. 2 versus 1 now. Nathan does have the opportunity to go onto the diffuser, but he needs the support of Packbull here in order to do so. Nathan is on there. Can he make this stick? I'm not sure Users is
now
aware. He's just getting in there. He keeps trying. He will get the first kill onto Packbull. Moves around the corner. Users with a huge round for Demise. How about that for timing though? Just as the Mozzie peeks out, we see the Nomad move behind the pillar, comes back. Weston will be able to make a successful challenge. That is the first of 3 that he is going to need. We've got Access putting the diffuser down, 1 versus 1 now. He can use that Mozzie drone, he's got plenty of time. He can leave it down there for his team. He's just going to take the risk. He's going to lose it. He knows exactly where the Zofia is. He's going to make the challenge. He'll get the kill. And that will allow him to come through. He is going to have to run out of that door if he wants to pick anybody up. He does so, and that will be a great kill onto one of those big operators for Burning Foxes. Grizzly going down. Ferrell takes another fight. He gets both of them. 19 kills between the 2 of them, and they are both off the board.
Grizzly on towards the members of Secret. He knows where they are. Finds a wonder shot through Ferrell on the long angle. This puts it into a 1 versus 1. Now Eunice has got this diffuser down, but can he find the kill? No, he can't. Grizzly is down to 1 HP. A bullet is enough to knock him over right now, but you could say exactly the same about Eunice right now. Down goes the plant, and let's see if anything can be done by Grizzly to be able to stop this one. The answer is going to be no, but he's spraying right above his head. He's put him down as well. Oh my word, he's managed to pull that one back from the jaws of defeat. Grizzly will take this one for Burning Foxes.
And welcome back to the Roma 6 Siege ESL Premiership. I'll be heading to our second match between Demise and Audacity. Joining me again with Joyker and Ace. And guys, this should be another good one. Demise have had a good season so far. Only have lost in MnM, but they've had the strongest rounds against them from what we've seen last week.
Yeah, definitely. I think Demise are probably one of the teams that we're expecting to get themselves to the LAN final. And this is just going to be one of those stepping stones in making sure that they get there.
Certainly is. We've learnt an important lesson on that first game there, and that is that mine and X's predictions are now the same for the remaining 2 games. So getting Burning Foxes right means I've won for the night. That's the really important thing we need to focus on, isn't it?
Yeah, that is the main focus of it, but congratulations anyway. I should interview you later as well, really, but let's have a look at the Demise roster anyway. Users, he's been on an absolute tear all of last week. Like I said, a little bit of a quiet first day, but second, third day just been absolutely off, and he was Prem VP as well, Ollie.
Yeah, I mean, Prem VP, that just shows the level that he's playing at, and that was against a team like MnM, so you're going to be expecting him to come out here and to do some pretty fantastic things against Audacity. That's the guy that you want to be looking toward for those frags and those multiple kills per round, just being in the right position.
Any other week and Demise get a win there.
Yeah.
It's, any other week that he plays like that and they are coming away with 3 points, there's no question, and I think we're probably going to see more of the same. That confidence will carry forward. A team like Audacity have already got an uphill battle, and if somebody like Hughes just comes out and plays like that, oh boy,
yeah,
be in trouble.
He's a dangerous man on the server, isn't he? You've got to really watch out for what he's after. It doesn't even matter 1v2, 1v3. He's definitely someone you've got to look out for. But let's have a look at the Audacity roster. And I see that Zumi's still playing, even though originally was a sub, but he's been doing great things too.
Yeah, Zumi is somebody that has obviously stepped in and been the player that Audacity need. And obviously we know the other guys, Sapronsa, Satua, Ivy and Jay Toa. So, bit of a difficult one, I think, for Audacity moving into tonight. They're going to be hard-pressed to get a result here against Demise, but I'm sure they've got a lot of confidence. And, it's Siege, we never really know how these things are going to play out. We like upsets. Upsets are more than welcome in the Premiership, and we do get to see our fair share.
We've seen it countless times. Look at last week, coming in, Secret Burning Foxes. Nobody was shouting Burning Foxes were going to win that one. Audacity, they're a good team. They've got Satua back. That's a positive for them, without a doubt. You said Zumi's come in, he's played really well, but Sapronsi, Satua, we've seen them play as a great duo previously, really fired the team up. We can see there Satua has undergone some cybernetic upgrades, and we hope it's going to increase our chances of success. We do have the technology, we do have the power to rebuild him. We've got possibly the $1 million man coming in Satua there.
I think it's safe to say he may, he's one of the top fraggers on the team. It probably feels like it's a T1000 now coming into this next match.
I think he's got a lot of pressure on him as well because, you're coming back in as this almost fabled player, the player that's going to answer a lot of these questions. You're going to have to perform. And whether Sachu is able to step up to the plate or not, we'll have to see.
Certainly won't. If you've had cybernetic upgrades, you've got no excuse, have you? We're expecting at least 15-0 now.
Yeah, it doesn't be ridiculous, but we do have another quote from Pat, and he's saying, if we're in a 1v5, we always think, what will Demo do? Probably Alt F4?
Potentially.
Make a quick meme.
Yeah.
There's always time for that.
Just run up a quick meme.
Yeah, especially if we've got many time left. But let's have a look at what Demise user says. Beauty begins the moment you decide to be yourself. I don't know if that's a meme or him being a philosopher, Rose.
Pretty deep, that, isn't it?
Yeah, that is, yeah.
Pretty deep. I like
hit me in the feels a little bit, I feel like. But I'm going to go back to you now anyway with the picks and bans and tell me, what are you thinking? What do you think we're going to end up seeing?
So Border and Cafe are off the board. I think that's pretty much the same as the default bans last time. I think they were the same too. So we are coming in now. Who have we got? So we've got Audacity. Again, I think they're gonna want to avoid those strat heavy maps. I think they'll like the chances of just winning the odd gunfight here and there. I think I would say Coastline Clubhouse again. I'm going to say Clubhouse if I'm back against the wall.
I can tell you the two maps that Demise are going to ban based on the sort of analysis work that I've been doing. They're not going to want to play on Cafe, as that is an auto ban anyway, but that is one that they do tend to try and ban out. They're not really going to want to play it on Villa either. That tells me that they'll probably remove Bank as well. So I think a Clubhouse, Coastline, that could be where we're looking. Could we be looking at Consulate? Have I said all the maps
See,
now?
this is what he's doing. He's learning.
He's learning. Enough things to guarantee a point there, but yeah, I think gun to my head, Clubhouse, Coastline.
You've definitely
that's not really gun to your head, is it?
So Coastline's been banned, so let's see if it will be Enclave. No, it won't be. It will go to Consulate again. So
again. I think that's pretty much exactly the same.
It is.
Yeah,
exactly the same.
Did you expect it? Well, obviously, you clearly didn't expect it.
I didn't expect Consulate.
Analysts, Jesus, what am I going to do with you two, right? But yeah, it will be Consulate again. And do you feel like it favours anyone in particular between these two teams?
It's got to favour Demise. For me, It's got to favour Demise as the more sort of coordinated team and the team that are more willing to go on a strat or a more strat-focused map.
I'd say exactly the same as I said before the last match there. Ultimately, the more sort of organised team are aiming to get as much strat-based as they can. They've had the maps taken away from them potentially, but Consulate, I think, it's a good middle ground for them, and I think Demise will come out with a good win.
We'll have to see what the people at home have to think. Let's have a look at the old Twitter poll, and it is Demise 78-22. Ollie, let's be real here. No surprises there.
No real surprises. I still think that there is a possibility that Audacity are going to come out and put in a performance. I did predict that Demise were going to be the team that win this fixture, but I never like seeing scorelines sort of 80-20. I think there's always a good fighting chance for the underdog.
And we will head into our second match, Demise versus Audacity. Guys, I'm going to let you take it away with the second match.
Heading into match number 2 on this ESL Premiership Playday, and we're going to be seeing now Demise versus Audacity. Obviously, there is a strong favourite here in Demise. We really would expect them to come out with a strong showing here, but that is not to say that this match fixture is decided in any way, shape or form. We've already seen a number of upsets here in the Premiership, and this one, make no mistake, has the possibility to be just that. We are going to be heading to Consulate once again. This time we will have the Nomad ban, and as I suggested last time, the Thermite generally tends to be the more favoured hard breach ban here on Consulate, and that is what we're going to be seeing here coming out from Audacity.
And it's a nice ban as well, because we did see just how much of an impact opening that garage wall early can have. Burning Foxes took great advantage on their attacking rounds in the game that we saw previously tonight on Consulate with that Thermite and being able to open both sides of that garage reinforcement. With Thermite being removed, it restricts a lot of the ability to open up that garage wall, and you'll be left with either a jump through or a crouch through and a single hole with the 3 sets of Excaros pellets. So a lot less potential for cutting that site in half and to restrict the rotations for the defenders. Last 2 bans pretty much as expected, but interestingly, Nomad removed and Valkyrie left in. That spells disaster for me.
It doesn't necessarily spell disaster, but it does spell spice. That much I am pretty sure of. As you say, the Valkyrie if brought, can offer a lot. If brought, first pick on the board, no surprise.
Straight away.
Insta pick, lock that one straight in. Does offer an awful lot of external coverage here and very difficult to find those cams, even with the IQ on the board because of the distance involved that they can be thrown. They hit trees, they hit all sorts of objects and can give some extremely good views of the exterior of this map and just lead the defenders in using those runouts, especially when the air jabs are not on the board to prevent that happening. So no big surprise to see Valkyrie being brought immediately. I just hope, I really hope, it means we're going to see some runouts. I love to see the excitement of it.
That's one of the reasons why Consulate's one of my favourite maps to watch and to play, because there is just that much potential for explosive runouts. We saw it a little bit in the last game, even with an air jab placed out there. As long as two of you run out of the same doorway or window or whatever it is that air jab has been placed on, one of you is going to get blasted across the map and the other is going to be able to get the kill. So still potential for that explosion with Nomad in. However, with Nomad removed and Valkyrie available, it just puts the IQ at such risk as well, because you sat looking up into the trees with your scanner, and at that point you're pretty vulnerable unless you're going to dedicate one of your team to be there and to be your buddy and to watch the windows and for the fights that could be happening. Interesting first site choice here from Demise.
Yeah, they're certainly throwing it into the mix here early on. Archives and Tellers in round number 1. That could be a big play there, because it just might be the complete unexpected for Audacity, and they may not have brought the setup that they might otherwise. Looking across their board, they've got the operators that they need, to be fair. They've got the Hibana, they've got the Thatcher, they've got the Buck there, so really there's no excuses for them, even if they have been sort of debated and we're expecting a different site. They've certainly got the tools that they need to unlock this site and to crack it open, but it's all about doing it. We can see early progress into the map here. This is what I like to see. It was a comment that I made about Burning Foxes. They were a little bit slow, a little bit indecisive when it came to getting into the map and getting themselves established. We can see Audacity have done that quickly, and pressure is going to be mounting on Demise soon, but Harris will help things out there on the castle to begin with. Sachua going off the board, 5 versus 4 now, and still 2 minutes on the clock.
And I really like Harris playing in that position as well, because he's used his utility. He's placed up his castle barricades. Of course, we're playing on the new patch, so Castle does have the super shorty shotgun as a sidearm as well. There is perhaps potential for rotations with that. Hatches can then be opened, or you can maybe be opening lines of sight as well. But he's now able to just play out there and just be that awkward roaming character. You can see him just on the bottom of that blue spiral stairs, just biding his time, waiting for the push. He knows that it's going to be coming very shortly. Drone out working ahead of Zumi, and that's now going to force Harris just to push down a little bit as the barricade has been opened. He's going to know that somebody is going to be looking to push there very shortly. Pat is only inches away from an engagement here on Soda. The pre-fire shots come out, but no, the pea shooter of Valkyrie, he is going to miss quite a few of those shots and only place IV down to just under half.
That is rough. If anything was a message that maybe the MPX needs a little bit of a look at it, I think it was that comeback there. I think he hit about 16 bullets and still only did about 65 health there. I think the Valkyrie Pat has every reason to maybe feel a bit hard done to as he loses his life to Sopronsi there. And that will be now 4 versus 4, but with only 35 seconds left on the clock, there is still an awful amount of work to be done here from the attackers. We can see Harris still doing good work on the UMP, but he will lose his life to Zumi, and that will give control over Tellers now. They could think about getting a plant down on top of that desk if they do have the diffuser in the right place, and we can see now that Demise are losing players left, right and centre. Dowie gets himself a great nitro kill, but in the meantime the diffuser will go down. He'll lose the fight to the Zafia, and Audacity will take round number 1 with a good attack onto Archives and Tellers.
That's exactly what you want if you're Audacity, to go out there and to win the first round of the game on, let's face it, a bit of an off-site. It hasn't been explored as thoroughly as the other sites on Consulate have in a competitive environment as of yet. To go out there, it sends a real big message. And I think if you're on the side of Demise, you're going to be feeling hard done to by a couple of guns that can be a little bit awkward at times. You got the MPX and you got the UMP. They
chose to bring them.
They chose to bring them, but those two engagements that we saw were so crucial. Pat on the MPX, and I think it was Harris on that UMP. Those are gunfights you win if you've got a Jaeger sort of standard of weapon, or an MP7, or something that's just a little bit more up there, a bit more rate of fire, and a slight bit harder hitting. So, bit of a tough round to go there for Demise. That's going to be a tough pill to swallow, I think.
Got to keep your crosshair up, Pat. Got to keep your crosshair up if you're playing the Valkyrie. You got to be looking for them headshots. That's the reality of it, because even at close range like that, we know that the MPX is reasonably low damage, and you know, Zofia benefited from that. Who was it that closed the round out with the final kill onto Mozzie? Zofia, still able to get in and have those gunfights.
Yeah, and you can't be letting them slip away like that. You know, when you're in such a good lurking position to be picking up those kills, as Harris and Pat were both in that round in separate scenarios. They're not free kills, but you're certainly able to take people by surprise and take a little bit of the aggression into your own game. That being said, they're going to be given the opportunity now to switch things up. And again, instead of going to one of the more popular sites, they're going to Lobby. Certainly not an unpopular site by any stretch of the imagination, but definitely tertiary. It's going to require a good hold of top floor, and maybe they're hoping that that's going to slow Audacity down a little bit, because whilst they did a great job in winning the last round, it was quite slow progress. We
are recently seeing this big rotation of what we see as being the popular sites, not just on Consulate, but through the entire game. I've commented a number of times, particularly Villa is the biggest place that we've seen these changes, with those bottom floor sites really getting brought into a lot of teams' rotations at a pro level. And what we see is as soon as the pro teams start doing that, the competitive levels below that, it starts to filter down, and they start to look at that and think, actually these sites are a bit more viable and possible than previously thought. And Lobby is absolutely no exception to that here on Console.
And just a bit more unexplored as well. You know, when you've got every single nook and cranny down of Garage or Console, you know, you can really start to explore the map in different ways when you throw a different bomb site into there. So it really is nice to see, and it keeps things very fresh. But once again, a slow start from Audacity. This is something that we did see in round number 1, and it's kind of going to be the story, I think, of this evening, is that they're going to be quite slow to move on the attack. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing if they're setting themselves up for good executes, but if they're just wasting time and not really gaining any ground or information, then it is going to be a bit of a problem. You can see so much drone work going out there of meeting, but not really anyone there to back it up.
Pat is getting, I think it's fair to describe it as heavily droned at this point, with a number of drones coming through there, and he's just unable to put shots onto the final one. But that being said, he's doing his job. He's up top. He's preventing that top floor map control, and we are now down to 1 minute 10. Jota will get the opening kill onto Joshua Glitch, and Pat will fight back, but will lose his life in a quick trade. Jota getting himself a double up there on the top floor, but will be traded out in return. Users with a double kill, and this is what we saw from Users last week, coming in and stepping up when his team needs him with those big multi-kills, and that will put us now in a 3 versus 2 situation. 50 seconds on the clock. Not looking good for Audacity here in round number 2.
Not at all. Dowie still downstairs being protected by Harris, because he's going to be looking to try and deny this plant if it comes to it. Now it all lies on Users to see just how much time he can burn inside of Cabinet. Is he going to find his third? Yes, he is. Gets that kill onto Supronsa, and now it's all down to Satua pushing up those main spiral stairs. He's going to be on long desk, going to peek himself around into Connector. The diffuser down in a horrible position for him. Users with the pre-fire, gets the quad kill, and that's round for Demise. Exceptional play there from Users, continuing his form from last week.
Exceptional play indeed. Barely moved his feet for a lot of those kills. That's the other thing you've got to remember there. He played around that hatching console cubby and just kept himself sort of mobile, but restricted at the same time. And he was just hitting his shots one after another. And Audacity were just feeding onto that. And that's the problem. We can see the kills coming out here now. That was about as far as he moved, was out to the edge of couch. Other than that, he just kept himself active in that area. Even gave it the little flare kill to finish there, dropping down the hatch as he gets number 4.
A little fadeaway. Love a fadeaway. It's amazing what the 416 will do.
Get a real gun.
Get a real gun. Get a real gun, and all of a sudden quad kills are a possibility. But it isn't always about the gun, and we all know this. Interesting point that I want to kind of make here is we're seeing dual TCSGs being brought on the side of Demise. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing. We do rate that weapon, we rate that the operators that can bring it in Goyo and Cade, but the TCSG has seen a little bit of a rework in this latest patch, and it isn't actually as destructive as it was previously. If you're going to fire that into a soft wall to be making rotates, it used to be an absolute soft wall shredder. Used to be able to make as big a rotate as you wanted, albeit limited by the magazine count. However, now it is a lot tighter, and it's much more difficult to make those quick rotations.
I think it was something that was needed. We saw the TCSG being brought an awful lot, and it's just because not only was it an excellent gun when you were actually in gunfights, but it just offered so much utility to the team as well, and it was just in that sense a little bit overpowered, that it just brought a little bit too much to the table. You know, much like the Alder, we saw the Alder losing its ACOG, no surprises there. It, you know, it needed something to just sort of bring it in line at least a little bit with the other weapons around it. So TCSG there taking a small nerf, but I'm sure it will still be powerful nonetheless.
It's still going to shred, and I don't think that's anything to say about its damage capability or it holding long lines of sight, which is something that we've seen it so good at with that ACOG, and just such a hard-hitting round. You really can hold those longer lines of sight. Bit of a roam clear coming out here. There's a lot of top floor control has now been gained, but this always eats into the time. Now, it's a stark contrast in the way that we saw Burning Foxes successfully attacking onto this site, because they were just really focused on that garage wall. But with the Thermite being banned, that's no longer a viable strategy, or at least it isn't as viable. You need to start making a few decisions now as to how you're going to clear out this roam game. Now, as it stands at the moment, I think a large portion of that roam game is actually rotated back down onto site, but players like Harris are still threatening. They're still mobile in and around the bottom of those blue stairs.
We can see the majority of the bottom floor being held all the way back to Archives. That's the pre-placed Nitro being taken out. Valcam and Jota is doing some serious work here on the IQ, and will now move to clear off those, just the mute jammers from the garage door to allow access to that for the hard breach of Supronsi. Remembering now that it is a Hibana, so if Usus is in a position to potentially apply an Electroclaw and get a couple of those X-Kairos pellets, it could be difficult to get into garage. It only has to catch a couple of them, not necessarily even all of them, to really start restricting the attackers if that is going to be their angle of approach. We can see Pat just trying with the C4 toss up the Visa stairs there. He will do some damage to Satua, but not quite enough. The Thatcher will still be on about a third health there, and we are getting into the late round to say we don't have a kill here. Users, who else will open things up with one onto IV? So that now leaves us 5 versus 4, and that's the Zofia off the board. Important utility lost.
There's a long way to go here for Audacity to try and push their way through. It looks as though they're teeing up for a yellow stairs push, maybe some hatch drops as well. But at the moment, with 20 seconds left, it feels as though there's too many kills for them to find. Demise are absolutely dug in here, and they don't need to move. Zumi's going to find one onto Pat. The C4 already being spent there by the Valkyrie, as the plant will start to go down under the cover of Jota. But a C4 from way downtown on the white van is going to see the plant halted. And well, the round at this point will be run out on time. Demise finishing things off there. A double kill for Dowie and Josh, as the plant was again being attempted. But Dowie just able to peek around with the right information there and close things out as the timer had hit 0.
How important was that Nitro for the round there for Demise? You have to make the shot, you have to hit it in the right place, and that's exactly what he did to prevent that diffuser going down. And then as Audacity scrambled as they tried to get that diffuser back in hand, Satua moved in, trying to get it planted down in front of White Van, but because the time was so limited, they just didn't have the opportunity to get the cover in place that they needed, and it was just an easy mop-up then for Demise to move through, get the kills that they needed, and sweep Audacity off the board in round number 3.
And that's one of those rounds that, you know, we're not taking everything away from Audacity. That really could have gone either way. Had a couple of kills traded out differently, had positioning been slightly better on the side of the attackers, they maybe get that diffuser down and they maybe hold it in a post plan or get a couple more kills in the meantime and win the round out just by kills. So Audacity, not a million miles away there, but Demise doing what they needed to do and picking the round up nonetheless. That now puts them at 2 rounds to 1, and they can relax a little bit going upstairs to console office.
Relax It's probably a strong word to use in Siege, I think, at any point. At least if my ranked games are anything to go by, I can't usually sleep for about 3 hours after I get off. It's certainly not a relaxing pastime.
I mean, if you want to try and get it, one of my favourite things to do, go for a spawn peek. If it doesn't come off, you've got a bit of time to chill then.
I mean, you should be sat on the cams, but in my experience, that's not something that you tend to do. You know, the call-outs don't come, and it turns out that X is alt-tabbed out. But back to the game at hand, round number 4 here. Demise now getting themselves a little bit of a lead. They're going to look to extend that now, I'm sure. They lost the first round down in Archives Tellers, but since then, going to the more sort of staple sites of Lobby and Garage, they've held them very, very well, and I don't think top floor is really going to be much different if it goes in the same sort of way that we've seen. We've seen Audacity coming in and struggling to get map control that they need, struggling to win those early gunfights, and if that continues, then the night is only going to get more difficult for them. It looks like we've got some attention being played to the admin side of things, which I like. I like to see things mixed up. I don't always like to see that one-dimensional yellow stairs push. Let's get in, let's get control of admin, and let's mix things up a little bit.
Yeah, the yellow stairs push is very utility intensive, and you've almost got one shot at it, whereas admin, you can commit, you can sit in there and drone for a little bit and just slowly gain that ground. Demise have adapted very quickly and very well to this, though. You can see that they've already got shields facing in the right direction, and a lot of players already training their sights on the admin side of things. I'm not sure if Users maybe lost one of his echo drones early on, as that was placed out as a bit of a precautionary measure inside of Copy, just to keep an idea of who is pushing on through. But Jota on the IQ is going to be able to do a lot of work to try and find those out, and I do think that Users has maybe lost both of his drones. He has got one in his pocket, so only one loss so far. Maybe wants to keep a little bit tighter hold of that one for the later part of the round.
It is going to be important, the information that can be fed back from that Yokai Echo, one of those operators that gets more and more valuable as the round passes, as the time goes by. We are now down towards the final minute, and I don't really feel like Audacity have got any sort of meaningful control at the moment. They've not managed to make any direct challenge onto any of these Demise players. Still 500 HP on the board for them, as Pat removes Jota from round number 4 and leaves us now in a 5 versus 4 with 45 seconds left on the board. We can see the pings coming out there, but once again, Audacity just unable to do anything directly with this information. It feels like they're going to be in a late round plant attempt situation again as a best case scenario here, like they were down in Garage. We can see Zumi now just looking down the long desk to see what he can get. Dowie and Pat combine beautifully there with Joshua Glitch getting in on the action as well, wiping Zumi out of things. Flawless round for Demise in round number 4, and that was very convincing from them.
There was just far too much utility for Audacity to deal with. You could see how distracted they were getting at Valkyrie's cameras, at the Yokai drones. There was just so much intel on the side of Demise. They knew exactly where the push was coming from, and with the information exchange that we see on this team time again, it's just a point of clicking heads at that stage. You know where the push is coming from. You know who is peeking you. When there's only 20 or so seconds left in the round, the onus is on the attackers to be that aggressive force and to try and take head-to-head gunfights. And Audacity, unfortunately for those guys, lost out on pretty much every single one in those final few seconds. Demise are going to be feeling really good now because they've given us a nice little run of Consular on the defense there. Now they're going to be able to go through and do the same 2 sites. They're going to be able to go to Lobby. They're going to be able to go back down to Garage, which they won very convincingly. If they come out of here at a 5-1 split, it's going to be a very short game for Audacity, and they need to kind of wake up now and to improve that speed on attack.
That's it. The last thing that they want here is to be coming out of this half with Demise feeling confident and picking up gunfights left, right and centre, put Users on the attack, and things are going to get dangerous. We can see he's already got 5 kills on the board along with Dowie. We know Dowie loves to play those ACOG operators. Only 1 death, 2 for Users, so that is big plays from those 2, and that's something that Audacity needs to start shutting down at this point. They have to get in there and disrupt those 2. By contrast, we can see Sachua there on 0 kills, 4 deaths so far. Supronsi on only 1 kill, and that is going to be difficult for Audacity to play with. We know that that duo has been important to the team previously, and maybe those couple of play days out for Sechua has just put them on the back foot a little bit, and they just need a little bit of time to get running again. But time is not something they're going to be given against a team like Demise.
Not at all. Demise aren't going to give you an inch because they want this. They want to end up at that LAN finals and they want to be playing on the stage. They're going to be doing everything that they can, and you can see that in the way that certain players are stepping up. Dowie had a 1 KD coming into this week, and you can see already on 5-1 looking to make a big improvement to that tonight. Not wanting to take anything that's too risky, not wanting to overexpose. Often it isn't about the amount of kills you get, it's if you're not dying that often, you're in there to impact the round in any which way that you are needed, whether that is with your utility or whether that is with a gun in your hand. Pat seeing a lot of pressure upstairs inside a meeting as the push from Copy comes on through, but he's not afraid at trying to find out onto those angles, and I can only think they've got some information over there that's giving him an idea of who is pushing on in.
Solid top floor hold so far coming in from Demise. We've seen this already. Pat will play in meeting. He'll then drop back to connector. He'll then drop back to console. And all he's doing there is letting them peel away the layers of this defense. But there are still plenty more to go. And all it does is waste time, waste time, waste time. We are 1.5 minutes through the round here. There we go. Pat drops back to console. And that'll be another 20 or 30 seconds before he can be cleared out of there. Jota will get in with a great double kill there, including 1 melee as well onto Joshua Glitchzumi with a kill onto Pat, and that should now be top floor control gained. We can see that Usus has dropped himself back to site, so with 1:10 on the clock, that has taken a dramatic swing in the favour of Audacity there. This is theirs to lose now. They have got a serious advantage here on the round. 5 versus 2, diffuser in hand, time on their side. This one should be going towards Audacity.
It really should. All those kills have gone untraded by Demise, which is uncharacteristic for what we've seen so far from those guys, but they've still got Usus and Dowie alive. Usus is that player that you don't want to be going up against in a 1vx situation. He has got that capability and that potential to clutch out rounds. There's 40 seconds left here, and I would have liked to have seen Audacity take a little bit more initiative, because I think the longer that they leave it, the more chance that they have of getting caught out on their own. And players like Dowie and Usus are going to be in the right place at the right time to pick off these players. We can see Usus' position here. He's not going to be drone, but his sight is going to block his view. Dowie finds one in return, and well, it'll be an ace clutch if he's going to do anything with this round. The diffuser still not being planted as we enter this final 15 seconds. So Bronson now is going to be getting that down, and Dowie seeing a heck of a lot of pressure. Too many angles to cover, and well, Audacity are going to take another round on the attack. Not looking too bad so far. They've really adapted quite well there, as in contrast to the way that we saw them attacking onto lobby in the previous round.
Much better from Audacity there. I commented around 1:30 that it was actually looking good for Demise. They'd wasted half the round. Pat was dropping back. Usus was still active. They still had some control over top floor. Audacity were not able to sort of start operating freely, and then all of a sudden in comes a huge 3K for Audacity as a team, and that just burst the door wide open for them. Jota having a fantastic game there, coming out with a big double kill to start things off. Exactly what his team needed. That is what Audacity needs. Somebody to step up, grab this game by the scruff of the neck and start bringing them back into it.
Definitely, and he really did that. Like you say, a double kill like that just gives you so much time and space. All of a sudden, Yellow Stairs was just there for the taking, and the top floor roam game was forced to rotate back down onto site and get caught in crossfires as it came. I think quite rightly, Demise are opting now to switch things up and to go downstairs to Garage, as they really don't want to end up on a 3-3 split at the first half. That isn't going to be representative for what they wanted going into this, I don't think. And all of a sudden, you can start looking back at rounds like the first one on Archives Tellers and thinking, was that really the right choice? Should we have tried to guarantee a round early doors instead of go for a little bit of a wild card and to try and throw off our opponents? Because so far, Audacity are dealing very well with the defensive Demise, and they're adapting round to round.
That's it. I think Audacity will almost be happy to come out of this as a 2-4, given a couple of rounds that we've seen. It would have been easy for Demise to run away with things, but Audacity have certainly kept themselves in. If they can come away with it 3 apiece, they're going to be ecstatic. So I don't think really this is like a win-win round really for Audacity. They're not going to be devastated to lose it. They're going to be very, very happy to win it heading into their defensive half, which I think will suit them better against Demise as well, being able to set up in their way and try to control the pace of things and just allow Demise to play into their angles instead.
Josh has really dropped quite quickly off that copy hold, and it's allowed Satua to get himself into admin. Drone's still working ahead of him, but he is going to be solely pushing this out on his own. We do have Jyoten getting himself into the bathroom, and this could be a really nice crossfire getting established here from Audacity. Jyoten just holding into connector, so anybody that chooses to then fully extend and get themselves back into meeting will be cut down, but it does seem as though a lot of the players have chosen instead to rotate back down onto site. I think we maybe got one on yellow stairs. That's being watched as a flank by IV, so some really good crossfires getting established here. And Jyoten's now allowed to push his way all the way on through, but no information on Josh stood at the top of those yellow stairs. And now Josh just able to rotate himself back onto site. Wasted half the round, got a kill, and more importantly, got a kill onto the IQ.
Perfect roam from Josh there. Just timing it exactly right, keeping himself out there. He was aware that he hadn't been drawn at the top of yellow stairs, so he was happy to hold his position. And Jyoten just pushing in there without all the facts, without all the information that he needed, and losing his life for it. So that is a big early loss for Audacity there if they were hoping to come out of this 3 apiece. We can see now that they've got piano control, they've got mid-floor control, all 5 defenders are now down into basement, but with only a minute on the clock and with the garage wall closed still, they're going to be happy enough with that. Harris comes out with a big nitro kill onto Zumi, so that will be the book taken off the board, and that will severely limit any more vertical destruction as well. They are now limited to those Ash charges. Dawe with a second nitro on the round, and that is something that Audacity cannot allow Demise to do. They can't give up those free kills in that way. Nitros are very rarely challenged in any way because they generally played vertically, so there is absolutely no risk to the defenders for those kills. They are completely free, and that is not something Audacity can risk giving up. We are now in a 2 versus 5 situation. IV and Seperonsi have an awfully big job ahead of them here. The angles are all being watched as they move down. I'm not sure what Harris was doing there with his back to Seperonsi. Will lose his life. I'm surprised it took so long, but ultimately users will finish things off, and that'll be Demise going 4-2 on the half.
It was one of those great gunfights that way. You don't even register that it's an opponent because you're like, how can he be there? There's no way he's just stood there so free with his back to me. But obviously you're already in a different gunfight and he just snaps and gets the cheap kill just to pad those stats. But ultimately, Demise doing the business there. Taking it 4-2 on the first split. A really good round coming out from them there. They really changed up the pace of their defensive round, and they dictated the pace to the attackers as well, which isn't something that's easy to do. 2 C4 kills make things very easy, and that just goes to show the information exchange and the way that they've planned to use their utility, because they brought 4 C4s there, so they had plenty of options for players to be popping a C4 onto common spots, and they did a really good job there of getting a couple of cheap kills. Had they not got those kills, the round could have gone very differently, because Audacity would have had a fuller force to push in a better way.
The question that leaves me with, the big question there, is the Demise comms. What's going on there that Harris is getting shot in the back? Why is that, why is that not being shouted out, the location on Spiral, that there's been a challenge there, or is Harris not reacting to it? I know it's not the end of the world. I know that I'm nitpicking on a round that they've won there, but ultimately, against maybe a more efficient team, somebody like MnM, that could lose you the round. You have to make those calls. We have to know where everybody's being attacked from. And Harris there in absolute no man's land has either not reacted or not had the call. It's got to be looked at.
It isn't beyond the realms of possibility for Audacity to win out the gunfight onto Josh, holding the corner with a headshot, then to win out the gunfight onto Harris because he's got his back, then to win out the gunfight onto Users as he peeks out and wide swings a door, and all of a sudden things do start to fall in a very different way. Now, is that Demise playing a little bit more loose and aggressive because they feel like they can against a team like Audacity, or is it just a fundamental...
Bad habits creep in, though.
You're a stickler for this sort of stuff.
I am a stickler for this sort of stuff.
But it matters.
Ultimately, it does matter because, I've said this, you can only beat the team that's in front of you. And it's about your performance. It's not about the win. It doesn't matter who you beat. Your performance has to be at A tier so that it always is up there. Because if you think that, oh, well, this game we don't need to have that due diligence, this game we do need it, that's when the bad habits creep in.
A lot of pressure onto yellow stairs here. We've got Pat also on West Repel, really trying to pin down those defenders inside of yellow. It's going to be Sapronsa on the smoke, but he is going to fall. He does throw one Toxic Babe canister out, but it is too little too late. Uses with the nade from the window. He's able to pick up a nice kill there. Again, good information exchange on the side of Demise. So we have Harris. He's looking to try and flash out the Jaeger inside of the bathroom now. It is a Jaeger that has chosen to replace that smoke, but a position that really is being fought quite heavily for, and it's wasting a lot of time. Demise haven't capitalized on removing that smoke. Usually, you will see a team get rid of the player on yellow and then start to looking at repelling in through bathroom or repelling into yellow, or actually just walking up those yellow stairs, because whilst you've removed the player, you haven't gained the control.
So we've got the repel established now out here on the west side. They know that this player is active inside of console, but there is not much they can do about that at the moment. The Jaeger just behind the deployable shield has been played out as well, but they will wish they had been able to do something about Satua in console there as he steps out and gets a great kill onto Pat, taking the IQ off the board and leveling things up. 4 versus 4 now with 50 seconds on the clock, but once again, it just looks like that clock is just working against the attackers. We've seen this already. Not enough aggression coming in from Demise here. There is no control. There are no feet actually on the ground inside the map here. And Audacity at this point, with only 30 seconds left to go, are able to start holding angles unless Demise do exactly as they are and start to increase the pace here. Josh getting a kill, users following it up with one onto Ivy as well. And this starts to look a bit more favourable for Demise as Jota has to step away on the Echo. But with Yokai still available and 15 seconds left on the clock, if the Echo can keep himself hidden away, he could be a real round winner here. Users will get the kill onto Zumi. Time is going to determine everything. The Yokai drone will prevent one plant attempt. Dowie will go for a second as Josh steps in and gets the kill onto, more than likely, a free Jota, who was probably in his second drone at that point trying to deny further plants, and that will be round Demise.
A good round there for Demise, but again, very tight on time. And had that played out slightly differently, that Yokai drone might have been enough to win the round there. You could see the players frantically pushing forward to try and seek out that Echo and to remove him from play, because they know that if he's got another drone up there with the timer hitting so low, there is a very good possibility that he can clutch out that round. We've already seen plays like that inside of the Premiership previously, but Jota, as trying as he might, he can't quite keep his team in this competitively at the moment. He's on 6 and 7, so whilst his kills are good, he is costing. He is dying quite a good number of times. That isn't ideal, but the rest of his team really need to start stepping up in that kills department, because a lot of stuff is going untraded. And with the lack of control that Demise had until that final, I want to say 30 or so seconds, it's quite shocking to me that they're going to come out and win out onto that round, because that tells me that defenders are peaking on stuff that they don't necessarily need to be.
I don't think Audacity need to necessarily take this too hard. You know, we've got Ivy and Sproncy there that are struggling tonight. 2 kills apiece, as you've commented. We need those players stepping up, but we have seen them have those performances in previous weeks. So this is, again, it's another one of those teams that I see, and I think it is about time, it is about growth, it's about building that consistency and those options, having those plan Bs and Cs. And I think given time, that is something that they will develop. They don't need to beat themselves up too much. It's about building that experience at this point, but Demise are certainly taking advantage of that lack of experience, and they are coming in aggressively, winning those gunfights, winning those ones, and building themselves a convincing lead at this point. 5-2 heading into round number 8. We can see early aggression coming towards admin here. They are looking to do a top floor clearance. We're all the way downstairs in garage this time out, but due diligence being paid from Demise. This is what I want to see, X. This is what I said. It's about playing each round to the full, no matter who you're against. It's about forming good habits, getting in there, making sure the roamers are cleared, and then looking to push onto site.
And if there's no one roaming up there, you should be able to drone it out and run through it relatively quickly. You've got people droning ahead of the entry, and they are going to be finding out all that they need to know. Calls will be going out now that bathroom's clear, connector's clear, console is also clear, and all of a sudden they've only spent 50 or so seconds getting themselves established in the map. Now they've got to try and take this one step further and get themselves down into that piano area, because that's a really crucial point. As we've spoken about multiple times tonight, you need to get control of piano. The hatch has actually been left soft in Bathroom, which is quite an interesting decision there. There's a couple of mute jammers played, but I don't think it's beyond the realms of possibility to root Sapronsa out of there. I know that they've left it soft for him to rotate, but usually you just open it from the start. Why would you leave it in a way where he's now going to have to act before he can rotate out there safely?
So we can see Demise here with the top floor control that they wanted, now pushing down onto that mid floor. As you say, Spronsa going to be an important factor here. How well is he cleared? They are aware that he's there. You can see from Pat's approach there, he is definitely aware of the presence of the mute there, but how are they going to deal with it? As you say, they've given him a route in there with the rotation that can be used against them. You've got to remember that in Siege, angles can always be used in both directions. I just feel like Pat could maybe use a little bit of support here, a second man just to help him push a difficult position in the Bathroom stall there. It's sort of do or die for Sapronsa. There is no escape for him now. His rotation out has pretty much been cut off by Pat unless he times this perfectly, and he's not actually going to know when that perfect moment is. As it stands, Pat can just sort of hold his angle if he wishes to, really. He can keep Sapronsa in place. There's not too much that he can do to challenge on. I'm not sure if the wall to his left is soft or not. I don't think it is. I think it was reinforced, so he's got no option to push towards Piano or threaten the sledge that's currently playing inside of there. Users has pretty much free reign to open up that floor. So Pat does have the option of just holding his angle. Josh Glitch getting in with a first kill onto IV, and that's a trend that we've been seeing throughout as well. Harris is looking to get a diffuser down now as well. He takes some serious damage there. Dowie getting a kill and Sapronsa trading one out with his own onto users. Harris just being forced off the diffuser once again, and we're going to see the fourth attempt now to get this diffuser down. It's going to have to stick as the clock has run out, but Audacity will win by interrupting that plant, and it just looks like Demise not able to take full advantage of that control that they gained. They spent so long worrying, it seemed, Pat just worrying about Sapronsa in Bathroom.
You've just got to take it as a head-to-head good fight. You know, that Mute Mosley combination is lethal for holding the Bathroom. You can stay in there for however long you wish. You throw a Jaeger ADS in there, you can stay even longer. It's so difficult to root players out of that position, and you've just got to take it as a head-to-head gunfight. Push one person through the rotate. If they even leave it soft, which a lot of teams don't, they'll reinforce it almost as a coffin, and then push one person through the door and just do something to unroot that player and unseat him from that powerful position. Because that SAS shotgun at close range, it shreds, we know it does, and he's wasted so much time ultimately winning the round there.
Well, we've even seen, you know, the nice setup where you've got the deployable shield between the stall and the half wall, so it forces attackers to go through an animation to get to a point where they can attack you. And as you say, at that sort of range with a shotgun, you've even got the option, I've seen players actually open the hatch, you can stand on the ledge at the back of the hatch, tight against the half wall, deployable shield in front of you. How do you root somebody out of there? You nades only at that point. You know, that's your only option, really, because as soon as you go through the animation, you have to clear that deployable shield out so that you can pre-fire as you move around. Otherwise, it is absolutely good night every single time.
And we had nades on the side of Demise. They had grenades at their disposal, they had Zephyr Lifeline, they had utility to burn out an ADS, and it just seemed like such a big sticking point for them. They spent so long trying to focus on it, or at least just holding it, and then not actually doing anything with it. Just feels like a little bit of a missed opportunity for them there. That being said, you know, Audacity, they're not going to be able to play in Bathroom every single round as much as they might like to because of how successful it was for them. This time, we're going to be going back upstairs, and again, an admin side clear, coming out from Demise. This is what we've got used to seeing now, as they don't really like going for the yellow stairs. We saw it one time, but they didn't take enough control quickly enough after removing the player out of there. So the admin side push is a lot better because you can just sort of take it in stages. You can get through into admin, drone out copy room, and then drone out the little cubby there where we see the deployable shield, and then you can start to move forward. And you can almost be, you know, taking it in stages, whereas that yellow, it's really do or die. As soon as you remove the player from there, you need to be in there contesting for that position.
Oh, it's all or nothing, there's no question. You know, we've seen teams like MnM come in and take that, and they're so polished in the way that they attack it, and I think that, you know, probably the other UK teams maybe look at that and think, yep, that's the method, that's what we're going to go for, but, you know, maybe don't quite realise just how much efficiency and coordination that takes in order to do that. But we will see, as you say, the admin push coming out from Demise here. They've got themselves established early, the drones are now coming in, they're just going to start locating those defenders, seeing exactly what utility they are up against. They're aware now that IV is playing in meeting, and that's some great teamwork as Dowie steps in and gets the opening kill from the balcony on to IV as the drone marks him up. Users will get the kill onto Sertua as well, and that now leaves us 5 versus 3, and this is a round that once again is moving quickly in the favour of Demise. 1 minute 20 left on the clock, and if they win this one, they will head to match point.
Don't be fooled though, Audacity have got it in the locker to try and clutch this one out. We've seen stranger stuff from them so far this evening. We're going to see a nade toss there all the way through into Connector, and what a great bit of time in there from Users, as that's going to take out Sabronza, and that's going to open things up greatly. Harris is going to be looking to make some sort of a rotation there. Zumi down in the lobby, just holding onto those spiral stairs. I don't think he's got the time or space to just be holding an angle now in this situation. It is a 2 versus 5, and well, Demise are quiet at the moment, which means that they're plotting, they're potentially droning or just shifting into position. Zumi going to find one onto Pat. He's got a lot of information there. A Nitro Cell will be tossed out, but unfortunately for him, not effective. Pre-fire shots now coming out through the floor. He's got information as to the plank going down, but instead he's going to choose to just try and shoot through the floor, and Harris will fall. This is the upset we were talking about. There's still a lot of potential here because the Yokai drone hasn't even been used. Zumi finds another one onto Users. That's probably the biggest kill that he could have found there, as that's going to do a lot for his team, but now he's left in the 1v2. Josh finds the kill onto Jota. Still got so much information out there, but with only 8 seconds left, Josh is going to have to start getting that diffuser down, and he is. Still got live pings to work with, but can't capitalize in time. Now in a post-plant situation and looking to try and aggress on in. I don't think anyone's got out onto Repel just as of yet, but Zumi trying to get those pre-fire shots out there. I do believe one player has jumped down, and we've got another laying prone on the bomb. He is going to see a down there onto Josh. He's on for the quad. Is this going to be the ace clutch? He's going to go for the defuse, just try and bait it out. He thinks that the player's upside down, but no, it's going to be Dowie, and he's going to be on the right-hand side of that Repel. Dowie isn't the kind of player that's going to get baited out so easily, and well, Zumi is really running out of time here. He's going to go for the jump out. He wasn't left with many opportunities. It was a fantastic effort, a quad kill, and it would have been the ace clutch for the win, but Dowie just being able to be there on the Repel and get the kill when it counted. Holding his nerve there, because it would have been all too easy to peek onto that player diffusing and to lose his life.
Dowie, very experienced player, and showing every ounce of that experience there to close the round out for Demise. Just putting random casual shots into the window frame just to disrupt those plant attempts, to just remind Zumi that I am here and maybe I'm coming for you, maybe I'm not. Zumi having to duck on and off the defuse attempt there. Great round from him. Absolute shame for him to not be able to close that one out. He really did a number for his team there. Demise just, again, lacking a little bit from clearing that Mozzie out underneath. You've got to be aware of a Mozzie underneath. He's got the Super Shorty, he's got the Nitro. He put both the good juice there to prevent that diffuse going down. Also then the Yokai drone backing him up and just forcing, again, the movement and the delay of that plant and allowing Zumi the opportunity to get in there and close things out. Unfortunately for him, he couldn't take it. But, again, a close round for Demise there. Probably closer than it should have been.
Certainly closer than it says on paper. You know, we're sitting at 3-6. This isn't representative of the Siege we've seen. This could quite easily be even Stevens and both these teams fighting tooth and nail. A lot of rounds have come down to the wire. I really need to hold my hands up for Zumi, because I did say I don't think he's got the time or space to be holding an angle downstairs. What I hadn't accounted for was just how much information Audacity still had inside of the site. They were playing for the retake at that stage. They were giving up that control, and that was demonstrated in just how many vertical kills Zumi was able to get, just shooting through with a commando. Not even the shotgun. He made some holes with the shotgun and dealt a little bit of damage, but it was the commando and the live pings that were doing the business for him. The C4 toss didn't quite work out for him. All these little things, had they gone slightly differently, could have been working out much more in Audacity's favor. As it stands, they're going to be given another opportunity at going into this bomb site. And Demise, they're on a match point. They're going to be feeling pretty good about themselves, but there's still things that they need to polish.
Polish indeed. And we can see there the Mozzie pass just being taken out, so that's utility cleared up. That will allow the drones a little bit more freedom, but moving away from that wall, it won't be too much of a benefit to them. Sertua getting a good opening kill onto Harris there. That is exactly what Audacity need. They don't have any opportunity to lose another round from here. 6-3 now in favour of Demise, and one more win for the attackers will see it being a successful fixture for them and their 4th win on the season. So that will now leave leave us in a 4 versus 5 with Audacity currently at a man advantage. We can see Satura and Zumi just working together downstairs. Again, they saw an awful lot of success with those players alive downstairs previously, so I'm sure that's something that they are going to look to have again in the late round. Will Demise learn from that? I don't see much pressure being applied downstairs. They allowed the Mozzie free reign down there previously and were very nearly hurt for it. I hope they don't gain to sort of get overconfident by the fact that they won that last round, because it was close, and in a different situation, 5 seconds different, and then everything is different. So they need to be very, very careful of the Mozzie downstairs.
They've got a drone downstairs on one of the fans, which is going to give them something to work with. Maybe Harris can be sitting on that and just feeding out information, but Audacity have learned how successful this kind of retake strategy was. They're playing 2 players downstairs this time, and that's really something that you can't ignore now. 2 nitro cells, 2 shotguns down there. It's going to be a lot to try and deny the plant coming in, or at least just try and deny a little bit of entry. If you start opening up lines of sight and challenging onto them, you're going to force Demise to rotate out and clear you out, which at 40 seconds left isn't really something that you want to be starting much later than right now. We can already see silhouettes going down there. It's going to be users taking that as a head-to-head gunfight. He finds one but gets traded. He needs a teammate there to try and take that out together. You can't expect to go 1 versus 2 and to come out with both the kills, and Audacity have done the right thing there yet again. Now we're seeing some pressure coming in from Dowie on Repel. He finds one onto Ivy. The diffuser has gone down, and well, it is now a post plant. A lot of work to do for the remaining defenders on side of Audacity. Toxic Babe canisters coming out. Josh gets a beautiful pre-fire shot there as Pat finds one onto Jota. Zumi has been outside for a little bit of a run and will once again be in the clutch situation, but it won't be enough. Demise are able to clutch out that round. Josh is able to find the last kill, and that is going to be game for Demise.
Good game for Audacity. I like what they did there. They were very solid in some areas. There's certainly areas for them to grow, but Demise, again, a good team. They dealt with the Mozzie better that time. You said, yes, he did go down there. Users was in a 1 versus 2 challenge, but that disruption just allowed the plant to go down. It threw Zumi out of place because he had to start fighting for the challenge there for the trade, and it just threw him out a little bit and left him in a very difficult situation come the end.
Yeah, it's fantastic stuff from Demise. Their carnage still continues. Audacity still looking for another W, but then again, Audacity, we saw during that first half, they were slowly learning to adapt, and then Demise will just change things up every single time, so it really made it such hard work for them there, Wally.
Audacity on attack did really well, and they actually surprised me a little bit there. I love the way that they were able to adapt round to round, and we actually saw them go into lobby, for an example, and losing it quite convincingly, and then coming back and doing a much better job and taking the round. So they were learning as they were going, and they did have some ideas and some plan B, C, D, etc. They did a really good job of that, but it just wasn't quite enough on the night. I think the kills coming through for Demise were the main thing there. I think Dowie went 10-2, which, you know, you really can't not mention that for him. Users as well had an absolute field day, and this was a bit of a turning point. It was right at the start, and that's really fired Users up for the fixture there.
Yeah, Demise got the win there, and ultimately, you know, I've said it before, I'll say it again, you can only beat the team that's in front of you. But what I would say there, if Demise were against a better team, they would have probably struggled. There were a few mistakes creeping in there, and whether that was maybe a little bit of unpredictability on Audacity's side, maybe playing how they didn't quite expect, I don't know. But Audacity, they just need to carry on at this point. They just need to keep going and just develop that synergy and that teamwork, that chemistry, and it'll come. It'll come.
No, you are absolutely right. With small mistakes like that, you are right. You know, with some of the other top-tier teams, it is quite a flaw, and those bad habits will start to continue, which is completely understandable. And as well as the other 2 players, we had Josh Glitch, who also did very well, especially towards the end, but Users proved as well, with his hiding cabinet on the 2nd floor, it was just the fact that he got the 2k, waited for the next person to come through, which did the 3k for the diffuser, and managed to wait and actually bait the diffuser down straight afterwards. So it just proves that sometimes you don't need to flank or rotate to find that last guy. He did all his job well done anyway, and he just stayed in the same place, barely moved.
You don't need to move your feet if you don't need to. Moving can be a disadvantage in Siege, and if you're in a powerful position, don't give it up.
That's why Lion was so weak, right?
Well, you could say that. But make sure you vote for your player of the match. We're one of the 3 players down below, Dowie Users and Josh Glitz. And funny enough, those are the highest KDs throughout that entire match. And we're talking about Users quite a bit, but you said Dowie, of course, was also doing very well, especially during that second half.
Yeah, Dowie did fantastically, especially when he got himself onto the attack. I mean, that being said, he did quite well on the defense as well. I think he was sort of 7-2 at one point and then went on to finish the game at 10-2. So can't really complain with that. Played exceptionally well. Users with the clutch as well. Josh Glitch, load of kills in there. I'd maybe like to have seen Zumi in there for that attempted clutch. A quad kill.
I think so.
A quad kill can't really go unnoticed there. And in different circumstance, he maybe clutches it out.
I think there's a strong shout for Joshua Glitch just for that hip-fire kill towards the end when he was prone. That was disgusting.
That was ridiculous. But Zumi, of course, in that 2v5 scenario, if he got an ace from that, that would have been a top play without a shadow of a doubt. That would have been ridiculous. But you saw there, the patience came in. It's very easy to kind of, you know, panic a little bit and that's at least wait for defuse once or twice to try and peek out. But he knew exactly where it was. But the fact that he waited the entire time and still left it good to go, it was a huge risk, but it paid off. Yeah,
it paid off for Dowie, and that's something that, you know, you've really got to try and hold your nerve in those situations because it can be so easy to get baited in to trying to challenge onto the player defusing. You even see guys spamming the key that it takes to defuse because it sounds then like he's continuing the diffuser. So all sorts of different things start playing in there, and it really does become a bit of a mind game.
Dowie played it beautifully. There's absolutely no question. It was great. Just like I said before, those casual shots onto the window frame just kept it in Zumi's mind that he's there. I can't do anything here, and he knew that. And Dowie just kept in his. He was paying rent at that point. He was right. He was right in his head.
Yeah, Zumi's been cheeky, but Dowie just wasn't having absolutely none of it at all. But we do have an interview with Sternab, the coach of Demise. Hello, Sternab. I haven't seen your face in quite a long time, and it seems like it was a nice, comfortable victory in the end.
Well, I mean, the scoreline was probably not really representative of it. They did a few things we didn't quite expect. To be honest, they did really, really well themselves. We knew they were probably going to be going to Consulate, but we hadn't really seen their Consulate. We didn't really know what to expect. And, you know, they put on a good things. I think a lot of the time we were kind of playing into what they wanted us to do, but then Users and Dowie just show up and just kill everyone anyway. So, you know, it worked out quite well.
Yeah, their fragment potential was absolutely ridiculous. Josh was heading there as well later towards that second half. But during the 5th round, when the second round went to Audacity, was you a little bit worried that Audacity were starting to adapt a bit quicker?
No, I think the only time that I was ever worried was after the first round, because while we tried to do something different and we have, you know, our plan tell us archives, we try and, you know, throw them off a bit by going to it first. But we lose that round, and it's okay, like, you know, we lose it. But the fact is that a lot of people were losing their gunfights across the board, and I was getting a little bit worried that maybe people were shaking or anything like that, or there was a little bit of nerves going on. But after that, people came back in the second round, and the comms were way much better. So we had a bit of a rough start on that first round, but after that, I was pretty confident we were going to win.
Yeah, we did notice during that first round you're doing more of an unorthodox position, shall we say. But do you really feel like it was the gunfights? Because normally your team are known for the gunfights. Are you surprised that like nothing else shaped up?
No, I do feel like it was the gunfights, mostly because Harris lost the gunfight against the Burke in Tellers itself, and that gave them complete site control. And then after that, everything else kind of just fell apart. Realistically, Harris normally does end up getting the kill there, so that was kind of a surprise to me. But after that, you know, everyone was fine, and Users had his great 4K upstairs as well, so, you know, he always shows up.
Sounds like you're trying to blame Harris a little bit, but I'll leave that there anyway.
Just for that first round.
Okay, we'll let him off of that one, no way. And final question, as a coach, what do you bring to the squad of Demise?
Well, normally I'm just doing a lot of map prep. At the moment, we've kind of just been going back to the basics. We've done, you know, lots of call-out sheets and stuff like that, just going back to what we should be doing droning. We've been scrimming loads this week as well, not really taking any days off, except Sunday, of course. and you know, really just grinding it out and kind of just making sure that we understand what the basics are and what we're doing before we move on to the more complicated things.
That's a lot for the first week, so you really be on your toes in terms of actually trying to prep them up for the following weeks. And if they make it to the Prem finals, what else are you kind of going to help with them with? Is it more just complicated bits and pieces with the strategies and tactics, or is there anything else in particular?
Well, LAN is a very, very different environment, and a lot of these guys don't really have that LAN experience. So there's going to be a lot going into the kind of prep work to that, and I'm pretty sure we will make the LAN finals of this, and this was really the match that we needed to win to lock that in. And I think now that we've won this match, we will be pretty confident going for that. So I can't give too much away of what we're actually going to be planning out and what we're doing for LAN, but, you know, it'll be interesting.
I knew you would. I was going to try and get out of you, but I had no luck. So at least I made a few attempts anyway. But it's nice to see you again, and congratulations on another well-deserved victory.
Good talking to you as always, Harry.
Well, I tried, didn't I? But let's be real. Like, you know, the coaches aren't going to give us complicated bits and pieces here and there. But he is right there. They've got to get ready for the LAN environment, because that is one of the main things they need to focus on, especially if they make it to the Prem finals, Ollie.
Yeah, it's something we talk about every single season in Prem. There's always going to be players that are maybe less experienced at playing in that LAN environment, and it really can shake things up on the day. I think back to, I believe it was a Wind and Rain roster back in the day. I can't remember exactly the players, but I remember they all reduced their sensitivity on the mice because they were feeling like they were getting a little bit nervous, getting a little bit jittery. It was a lot of the guys' first time playing on a stage, and that really helped them, and they went on to do really well, and they played exceptionally. And, you know, little things like that that people don't even think about can really play into it, and that LAN experience is so crucial.
I think one thing I would say is, you know, yes, focusing on the LAN potential is important, but don't get too far ahead of yourselves just yet. There is an opportunity to get through in second place here. Let's not forget, Secret going out of the league does blow things wide open. You would expect MnM to go through. It now comes down to Fierce Demise. There is the opportunity for that auto qualification where you don't have to roll the dice in playoffs. That's something Demise need to keep in mind.
Yeah, they need to really be careful. But even with the LAN experience anyway, sometimes when you play against another team where they've only been to one, maybe two, or none at all, you can really see in terms of the movement, the silly mistakes they made. There's so many little things you can pick up on. It's like, yeah, he's not ready. Yeah, he's not ready for me at all. So we've seen that quite a few times in the past. But let's head into the future anyway with our last match, which will be Crazy versus Enclave, which will be coming up very soon. And welcome back to Rainbow Six Siege ESL Premiership, and we head into our final match of the evening between Crazy, the old MnM, versus Enclave. Joined with me is the lovely Troika and Ace as well. And we're not going to hype this match up too much because I think we got a good idea of what could happen here. But let's be real, it's more Enclave with the experience gain and well, I was going to say MnM Crazy, it's going to be possibly easy work for them.
That's number 3, by the way. We're keeping a count on how many times we miscall MnM, and it's only going to get more from here on out, as this is, of course, going to be those guys playing for the first time under a new organisation. So the same names, you're going to recognise everybody, but of course, a different org.
So, yeah, they are very recognisable names. We realistically expect this to go in one direction, but who knows? You never know. Mistakes can creep in, unusual upsets can happen. Looking at the Crazy roster there, Patbull, Nathan, Madman, Datsun, Jonker, they need absolutely no introduction. Those names starting to roll off the tongue now. Great qualification to Challenger League recently. They're going to be making a big shout towards Pro League in the near future, I'm sure. But you can only play who's in front of you. I've said it before, and there's still a professional outcome needed and a win needed.
There's me thinking I was going to finish on time. Now that you said that, it's jinxed it. We're going to be here for at least another hour later. Perfectly fine. And only one change is the fact that Madman hasn't gone full Welsh this time.
No, he's... I mean...
He's falling soft on us.
He is.
I'm disappointed because I quite like that name. It is Madman in Welsh. It's a direct translation, but I mean, we've been calling him Madman anyway, so it makes a lot of sense now that he's got his name back to as it was.
Yeah, at least you see it back because there's no way I could have pronounced that name anyway, but it switched to the other roster anyway with the Enclave guys. And, you know, we've seen some things here and there. No Joe. A little bit disappointed already, but then again, we'll have to see what this lineup can make up with Ace.
Yeah, we've got a couple of new names there. Melstari, Razuko, as you say, a couple missing for Enclave, so it's just going to be a more difficult week for them. But that being said, you know, I don't think it's a bad week to do it. You're probably going to expect to lose to the Crazy roster anyway, so if you're going to have a week where you can't have people playing, let's do it now and take the L anyway, you know. Let's not do it on weeks where you're looking at fixtures where you think we might be able to get something out of this. That's when you need your core there.
I think one thing to say with Joe, even though he's not on this roster, he did definitely bring a little bit of fracking pay, you know, with his roam game, etc. But, you know, they're not going to have it this time round. So what do you feel like else they could bring to the table here? Because I think it's more of a need for the table is, you know, quite a lot.
I think they've got to just focus on going out there and having a lot of fun tonight. You know, they're not going to be expected to get a result here against this roster. You're talking a Challenger League team, and not just any Challenger League team, but a good one as well. And, you know, it's going to be very difficult to try and get a fixture, or get a result, sorry, in this fixture against them. Just make sure that you go out there and you have a ton of fun in doing it.
Yeah, exactly. We've seen Crazy play against top-tier teams, Pro League teams, and win and put up great performances. They're going to do that in Challenger League. Like you say, it's just about having some fun tonight.
And we have a crazy quote from Nathan, go stupid R, go crazy R. So, yeah, it seems like with them, they're going to go absolutely mad as well, especially in this match. But let's go back to the other roster with Enclave. I think for now, they could do whatever they want. They can run out and, you know, hopefully get away with it, which I doubt because, you know, Crazy are very structured. I don't think that is going to happen. But they can try new things. They can be unorthodox. And one thing that they've got to remember is the fact that it's a possibility that every single team in this Premiership are going to lose to Crazy here.
There's a really possibility about that. And, you know, it's going out there and making sure that you learn something off the back of tonight. Don't go out there and just see it as a result of, you know, 7 to a number. Go out there and actually try and get your own outcome out of it and make sure that you learn something and take something away. And as we've said, have a lot of fun in doing so. You know, there's things that you're going to learn playing against a team like this. Make sure you're all recording it as well on your shadow plays. And you can go out there and get some fresh ideas for your own game that you can then bring into it.
You might just be saying one day that you played against a Pro League team.
Who knows?
Even bigger than that, maybe.
Exactly, you never know. You know, with the Premiership, we've seen a lot of weird, different things, but some great things as well on top of that as we go into the picks and bans to see what map we'll be playing. And, Ollie, I'm going to pick your brains to start off with this time. Tell me what you're thinking.
See, I like to go all on one. So I've said Coastline 2 maps in two games in a row, and I like to double down. So I'm going to triple down on Coast.
Ooh. Third time's the charm, eh? What about you, Ace?
Absolutely.
We're not going to see Consulate because we know how good Crazy are on there, so Enclave would be absolutely mad to let that through. Villa, again, I think will probably be taken off the board. It's not one that we see played too often by Crazy. Consulate again, I doubt it.
I don't think we will.
No, we won't see that. I think Clubhouse again, I'm going to triple down.
Oh, okay, so you're both going to triple down. Could be for a third Consulate, so maybe that could triple down as well. But that's not going to be the case. That does get banned. Coastline gets banned as well, and we'll see the final 3. Banking Villa, Clubhouse goes to Ace.
It's really surprising because there's a lot to say that you don't want to take Crazy to Clubhouse. They're a very good team on that map.
I think look across the bands.
Well, they're a very good team on all the maps.
Look across the bands. You absolutely don't want to take them to Consulate. No wonder Enclave have banned that out. Villa as well would be a very difficult, strat-heavy map to play against them on. Crazy taking Coastline out. I think they're happy to go to Clubhouse. They know they're strong on there, but I think Enclave have done everything they could there, and it was down to Crazy where they wanted to play, essentially. And Clubhouse is going to suit them down to the ground.
It's basically pick your poison, really, isn't it? I say that now, and I find that ends up being much closer than we expect, Ben. It's probably going to be the strangest but the most mad upset we would ever seen. But let's be real here. The chance of that happening is slim to none, sadly.
The biggest problem that you've got here with Crazy is that they're a great team on attack. Now, that really starts to play in when you look at a map like Clubhouse, which is inherently defender-sided. So what you can start to think there is, well, if they start off on the defense, they're expected to go 4-2. Then they're a great attacking team. All they need is 2 rounds. They start off on the attack, they build that momentum, they start to get a couple of rounds on the board, then they've got to go on to the defense, which is more powerful. It really does sort of right itself.
It does.
We know what we think, but let's see what the people at home think in terms of who they feel is going to win this match. 85 to 15. I expect that to be a bit more.
Come on, the 15%.
Yeah, come on, 15%.
I love you.
Give it.
I love blind loyalty. I can't get enough of that. Well done.
I actually secretly put Enclave as well. So, yeah, so
well done.
You can thank me. I didn't really. But anyway, let's go straight to the match anyway. The final match of the evening with Crazy and Enclave. Take it away, guys.
Heading into the third game that we're bringing you tonight there here in the ESL Premiership. Myself, Ace of Pirate, and XR Troika will have a lot of fun casting this one, I'm sure. Enclave versus Crazy. Don't go anywhere. Upsets are always possible. We know that. It's going to be an absolute mountain for Enclave to climb here on Clubhouse. We've got Crazy coming in on the defence. That is going to be very difficult on a defender-sided map. We would expect Crazy to be coming out of this 5-1, possibly even 6-0. It's going to be a tough one.
There was no right side to start on here for Enclave. They were always going to be facing a really stiff uphill battle. And that's reflected in the bans as well. We're going to be seeing Capital removed. That's a staple ban for Crazy. Probably going to get rid of the mirror as well here. Maverick and Echo, 2 really good bans. Very useful operators here on Clubhouse. But I don't really think that the operator bans are going to weigh too heavily into this fixture. You could almost just not ban anything or ban everything, and I'm sure that Crazy would still find a way to win.
Is there an option for Enclave to just ban guns?
Ban guns, maybe ban nades. We see these guys do some good stuff with nades.
Nightmare with nades, as is Madman.
Madman as well. You know, this was something that I was sort of commenting on quite heavily. When Madman came into the roster, he kind of started to take over a little bit of position in the book role. He started to take the book a little bit off Packbull. And I was a little bit critical of that because Packbull is known for really good grenades. Often, sometimes you see him get 2 kills with 1 grenade. That being said, Madman last week, 2 kills. 2 grenades. He's starting to get up those numbers. He's learning from the Packbull school of nades.
The thing is, if you're going to come in and take book, you better get some nade kills. If you're going to take Buck away from Packbull, you better get some nade kills. You better be getting ready to get in there and use that utility. But like I say, let's we can all joke, we can all have a bit of fun, as I'm sure Enclave are going to do here as well. It will come as absolutely no surprise to those guys that Crazy are the favourites here, and of course we're going to talk about them in those terms. But this is still a 2-horse race. Enclave are on the map. They have guns. They are here to play, and they still have the opportunity to pick up kills and pick up rounds. If they can get 2 or 3 rounds on the board here, they may well see that as a success. It's all about growth and development for them as well, and they can learn an awful lot off a team like Crazy.
They really can, and that's something that you've got to try and take away your own little mini wins from things like these. You want to be able to go out there and say, yeah, I'm really happy with that result. We didn't necessarily get the result that we wanted to, but we've come out and we've learned all this stuff about ourselves. They're going to be put to the test tonight. There's no question about that, but it's all about seeing how they step up to the plate.
You don't lose, X.
You learn.
You win or learn. Simple as that, and that's why Enclave really need to see this. So we are in round number 1 here on Clubhouse, where Enclave will face off against the so far undefeated Crazy. They were pushed quite far in week number 1. They were taking Burning Foxes all the way to 7-5. It took them to win that one, but Access coming out with a good early kill there onto Madman, and that will now give Enclave at least an early advantage here. That's the castle off the board, and this is a good start for the attackers.
Now, this is something that we have spoken about previously, and that's taking every single game as seriously and as professionally as possible. Now, in week number 1, we've got to give Crazy a little bit of slack. They actually had just got into Challenger League off the back of a game that they played before playing the game in the Premiership. So they weren't that bothered about the first game. You could tell that in the way that you watched it. They really stepped it up later on into the game and they picked up those rounds. But there's a lot to be said for closing out a game professionally and quickly when given the opportunity.
I've said it countless times before, you can only play and beat the team in front of you, and you have to do that professionally. It is about just going out to get that result, to get that fixture on the board, get those points, because you don't know when those lack of points might come back and hurt you. It might appear that, you know, yeah, if they take an unexpected bad loss here against Enclave, or maybe don't win by as many rounds as they could do, that it doesn't matter. But when they get tied up in points in that final week and it comes down to round difference, all of a sudden you're looking at those 3 rounds that you lost against Enclave because you weren't necessarily as focused as you would be normally, and it makes a big difference. And so you really do need to maintain that professional outlook and just go in there, play to the maximum ability that you can do, and look to get that W on the board.
Enclave are doing a pretty good job of staying alive here. They've not taken anything too risky so far, but they have got good control of Dirt Tunnel, and that's going to be a bit of a problem for Dats. He's going to be looking to try and challenge onto that, but Dats is going to go huge with a triple kill onto the push that was coming through that Dirt Tunnel. That shotgun at close ranges is a nightmare to deal with, and now Thor is left as the last man standing, getting himself into all sorts of engagements. He's going to find one before getting downed and falling through the hatch. Packbull picking up that last kill.
How many times are we going to see this from Dats? We saw it against Team Secret, dropping Courtyard on coastline, moving into main lobby, hitting a 3k. We've just seen it now, moving into Dirt Tunnel, absolutely destroying with the Ella shotgun. We know because of its rate of fire how much of a nightmare it is at close range if you're bunched together like that. And that's lesson 1 learnt for Enclave. Do not bunch up on a push against a team like Crazy, because they're going to come in with shotguns. They are ready for those engagements.
Enclave did a lot of the hard work there. They got themselves into Dirt Tunnel and they were established. What they didn't have was control of Kitchen Hatch. As soon as you get control of Kitchen Hatch, Dats can't play in that position. He probably didn't know his luck. He was sat there thinking, I can hear people pushing me in Dirt Tunnel. I'm looking up to Kitchen Hatch. It's closed. There's no holes in kitchen floor. This is free. I can literally just stand wherever I need, wherever the best angle is, and just hold mouse 1.
I feel like he probably said before going into Dirt Tunnel, watch this.
Watch this. I've got a plan.
Heading into round number 2 then, Crazy will take the first round successfully down in Church and Arsenal and head up now to Cash and CCTV. So obviously a key part of this attack is going to be opening that east wall. If they can't do that here, it's going to be very difficult to take this site against a team like Crazy. They could also do with having a look over at that construction side. I'd like to see pressure applied from both directions here. Get Hibana on one side, Thermite on the other, get both of those walls opened up. Thank you, Alex. That is indeed the one I'm talking about. Get both of those opened up, and that is the other. And then start creating that pressure inside. Make it very difficult for Crazy to move anywhere around. Try to take over Garage Catwalk. Dats is not going to be an easy player to shift from there when he's got the Alder in his hands, but if you can get that cleared out as well, then maybe, just maybe, you can start thinking about getting that first attacking round on the board.
There's a lot of things that have got to happen here to get good control of the walls, to even get them open. Thor is going to be looking at pushing his way on in. He wants to try and get in underneath the Bandit and to remove the Bandit from being able to trick onto it. Now, we do see a player is going to be playing tight inside of Adam there. That is going to be Jonker, and he's going to be playing this really aggressively. He's waiting for the hop in, and he knows that there's at least 2 players out there, but all of a sudden he's burning a lot of time, and this is now on Enclave to react. He's managed to get himself away down to the stairs, but even so, he's still in a very difficult position. You can see drones coming in, and they're going to cause him to to have to move now. He's either got to take a head-to-head gunfight or get himself out of the way, because you just know that there should be a player from Enclave rotating round through stock, coming into lounge and being that opposing force. As it stands, you can see on the silhouettes that it's very slow progress from Enclave, and they're not recognizing how easy it could be here to really pincer off one of the defenders. Drones are going in, but they're only telling you part of the story. You need to follow that up with some action.
I think Enclave just playing a little bit scared here. They've done nothing, as you say, to move Jonker away. He's going to get himself a first kill onto Adrenal on the rappel, and they've just not been aggressive enough in going in and taking that fight. Thor getting in there and getting the kill, and that's what they needed much earlier in this round, but there's the backup coming in from Madman, trading that one out. 4 versus 3 now. We can see we've also got a man down. That's Razuko, who will be down. Access will get the kill onto Madman. That's the Valkyrie off the board. 3 versus 3 as Razuko is picked up. Not the end of the world here for Enclave, but certainly work to be done. The problem is that they've still got the east wall closed. They've still got Dats out on the garage catwalk. There is a lot of work to be done. They have their hard breach available with 45 seconds. If they move quickly, they can still do what they need to, but move quickly is going to be the key here.
Yeah, they really need to waste no time now. You can see ADS is getting burnt. There's potential for a nade to come through there onto Dats, onto that catwalk, and you can see he is seeing a little bit of pressure there, but no nades left in the hands of Rizoku. He's left just trying to challenge onto it, but wiggle peeking around is only going to do so much against the Alder. Dats can hold that angle pretty much all day. He is in fact going to get taken out as a stroll up the main stairs is going to ensue, and at 2-2 with 10 seconds left, still looking pretty good for Crazy. Nathan's going to find 2 on in the site. Pre-fire shots go out. It's going to draw for the pistol for style points, but no, Packbull is going to steal it off him. Crazy with round number 2.
Good example of the problem that Enclave face here. There was some good progress from them there. I criticised them early round, and I would stick to that they weren't quite aggressive enough onto Jonker. They were just playing a little bit scared there. As you say, they had him pinched on blue stairs, push a man in through lounge, or even potentially through the downstairs and up the blue stairs. You've got a number of options there to get him directly pinched, get him finished off. It took a minute and a half for them to finally push an attack, and they lost Adrenal to him as well. That being said, from there on in, they got more aggressive. They cleared Dats off garage catwalk. They got themselves back to a 2 versus 2 situation, and it was looking like there was some potential there. The problem being for them that 2 versus 2 was against Nathan and Packbull, and when you're coming up against 2 players like that, being the anchors on site, it is always going to be a big ask with only 10 seconds on the clock and having to rush. So they just need, like I say, that early round aggression a little bit more. Just get a bit of confidence, go in, take those fights, give yourself the advantage, get the pinch, clear the men out, and then maybe you push inside 2 versus 2 with 40 seconds left on the board, and you can afford to just take your time a little bit more.
Yeah, these players aren't invincible, you know. One-shot headshots the thing. You can get in there, you can pin people down, and you can pincer them. There's so much drone information going out on Enclave, and that's great. That's a real good step 1 in terms of establishing yourself, gathering as much information as you need, and then being able to act on it. The really tricky part comes in acting on it. You've got to be able to really effectively use that information. There's no point in droning something then not pushing it for 40 seconds. You've got to drone it and then have someone in there pretty much at the drone's heels ready to act on that live information. And that's something that we just saw a little bit lacking on the side of Enclave in that previous round. That's opening things up almost as if on cue. Finding a nice opener there, and with the thermite gone and only 1 hard breach being brought, it got very difficult there in the first 20 seconds for Enclave.
It did just get very, very difficult, especially pushing onto a gym and bedroom site. I talk about this quite often. It is a site where you really need to be putting your hard breach to good use, although Jonker will find himself pinched and dealt with much quicker and much more effectively that time. That is better from Enclave. That is definitely a positive that they can take here, and they're also looking to just push Stats away back into cash room, but he does still have the utility of those reinforcements to help him here. We can see the jump out, and that's something that they've just not been aware of enough there. Adrenal losing his life to Nathan, and Enclave, the attack now is surely going to start slowing down as they try to move through. Dats will get himself a second on the round onto Access, and that now leaves us in a 2 versus 4. And as I said, without that hard breach option, pushing onto gym and bedroom becomes very difficult because you're limited to single doors and single windows, and all they act as is huge funnels, and you just have to push into the line of sight left of the attackers, and it becomes very, very difficult without being able to open up those new rotations.
The two remaining players on Enclave has managed to buddy up a little bit, and Mizuku is going to find a kill onto Dats. That's definitely one that they needed. They've now removed him from those cache, that CCTV and cache area, but as if like that, Madman comes in with the final kill, as the information was just too great. You could see live pings still being dished out there, even still got his C4 left in hand.
Very difficult for Azuko there to play in that area in front of the windows. We do see it played quite often on that site, but, and the big but here, is that you have to have control of CCTV and cache room before you do it, even if that's just in a sense of having the east wall open and a man on rappel on the half roof there, so that you can prevent anybody playing in cache, because that, sorry, in CCTV, because that's the big window. It looks all the way down that line of sight along all three. So if you're playing out there as Rizuko was on your own, you're asking for trouble, because the defenders are going to rotate into cache, into CCTV, and they're going to start hurting you from those windows. And we could see there the indecision from him was why he lost his life. He was ADS'd on CCTV window. He knew he needed to check construction window, and as he switched across, Madman hit him with the headshot.
Tough gig so far for Enclave, going 3-0 down. And they're going to be facing very much the same as what we saw over in round number 1. MnM with the classic Mute Mozzie combo, Madman on the castle. He did fall quite early last time. He was the opening kill. And it didn't really affect too much onto the round because we saw Dats get a 3K. That isn't something you can rely on every single time. You've got to be able to, in some way, account for that, and in some way try and limit the necessity for one player to get multiple kills. That being said, if you're in a position where you can get multiple kills, crack on and go for it, because it's going to make things a heck of a lot easier for your team. On the side of Enclave, they need to maybe not put themselves in that position, because they really did start to funnel themselves, and I don't really think they had much need to. They brought 2 hard breaches this time. There isn't a Cade on the side of the defense, so it should be relatively easy to get everything that they need open, given that they can get the map control.
30 seconds into the round then, we can see Enclave busily working to get themselves into position. I'm sure there's drones still active heading in there. We can see Access, I think, on his drone at least there, just looking to feed in ahead of these entry fraggers, just to gain some information on where the crazy players might be located. With the Mute Mozzie upstairs, it's going to be a difficult job here. That's the first step, is you need to clear out that top floor. This is the SSG style defense of having those players up there, and there is yet a team to see that they've efficiently and effectively cracked this defense. It is extremely difficult, and there is no difference for Enclave here, but Rizuko will move in and get 1 kill for his team, leaving him now in a 4 versus 3. That will be Jonker off the board. Jonker having a little bit of a torrid time of it at the moment. He's getting hit repeatedly in these last couple of rounds.
Yeah, he's putting himself out there, he's putting himself in the firefight, but just not able to impact all too much, and often finding himself in the wrong side of those engagements. He's still going to be fairly happy with that. You know, I mean, he has lost a C4, and you've lost a body upstairs, you've lost the roaming duo that Nathan will have been trying to rely on as he's playing upstairs as well. But as it stands, I don't think that Crazy are going to be too concerned. Madman's got himself hidden away inside of Strip. Not sure if he's planning on some sort of a late flank here, but as time is ticking down and still not a lot of progress being made on the side of Enclave, Nathan going to be pushing himself in through construction, just quietly trying to get himself in a position at the top of those main stairs, or to try and challenge onto logistics. Madman's still downstairs in Strip. He's now committed to just waiting till the final part of this round and then trying to move in and pick up kills on the rotate.
40 seconds left to go. We can see that the kitchen hatch has been opened. Access is just holding his line of sight at the minute. That's very aware of that, and he's restricted in his movement. We can see Madman just using those rotations to drop himself back to sight. With only 25 seconds left to go, the Roamers have more than done their job here. Nathan is still active on the mid-floor. Access not aware of that, and he will lose his life. Ultimately to Packbull, as Nathan does miss a few shots there, just hitting those sort of metal kitchen tables there. Dats will will get in and finish things off along with Packbull. So that will be another round going to Crazy. Access needs to react a little bit quicker there, getting challenged by Nathan. Didn't seem quite aware that where the bullets were coming from, but I think it's always difficult when you're being challenged from downstairs as well.
It's really difficult, and that's exactly what I wanted to see Enclave doing. I wanted to see them getting that kitchen hatch open, because then they can start to pressure on in, and when the push comes through Dirt Tunnel, there's somebody there to stop players like Dats in that powerful position with that shotgun. Now, had they managed to keep a bit more control of top floor, and they won out on a few more of those gunfights and not allowed two players to basically disappear for the entirety of the round and then rotate back down and really affect in that late stage, it could have been a little bit different. The idea was brilliant, the execution just a little bit lacking.
Heading back to CCTV and Cash Room in round number 5, then we saw this back in round number 2, and we saw some good late round progress from Enclave, but a slow start, struggling to move Jonker away from the top of blue stairs. That's something that they're going to have to do differently this time around. I'm pretty sure we're going to see Jonker play probably in the exact same location, given the success that he saw from that last time and the amount of time that he was able to waste. And that's something that Enclave need to see here, and they need to show that adaptation. They need to think, right, what do we do if Jonker is in that same position again? Right, actually, let's send somebody in from a safe side of the map. Let's send them in from strip. Let's move them through to main stairs, downstairs, so they can come through the blue corridor and challenge him from the rear. They need to have a plan in place in case that is happening so that they can shift him quicker.
It's Dirt Tunnel. You get yourself in through Dirt Tunnel. Pretty much anyone can get themselves in there. If you spawn with somebody over there, you can get Ash, Sophia, Buck. Just literally take your pick. Someone with an impact or someone with a breaching charge, should I say. Get yourself in through Dirt Tunnel and try an effect onto Jonker, because you can almost guaranteed to have a free rite of passage through Armory. No one's going to be playing in that area. Jonker has read into that. He's going to be playing in Dirt Tunnel this time because he's concerned. He's thinking, what would I do in this situation to root me out of blue? I'd go in through Dirt Tunnel. I'm going to play the first 30 seconds of the round there, then rotate back.
Early challenge onto garage door there. Madman just going to be holding an angle from lower garage. Jonker once again playing on those blue stairs, but looks reasonably unchallenged at this point in time. I don't think we've got the east wall open yet, and if we try to move into garage too soon, it's going to be trouble. Although I think we did just hear a thermite charge activating. Dats will get the kill on to Adrenal, however, to start things off for Crazy. So that's the Thatcher off the board. Mounty Crip has taken a little bit of damage there. Now this could get dangerous. Madman's just thrown himself a cam out there, and if he knows there's one out there, he's surely going to go and challenge. He does have a little look, but Rizuko is alert to the danger. We can see again just playing around this kennels window. I think that was actually a claymore possibly being put out, or it was might have been, it was Thor, so it must have been the drone getting dropped. He will go in for the jump, but that's a nice little bait from Crazy there, as they know that he's going to challenge Jonker. So Madman comes to support Packbull as well, and then he gets absolutely decimated as he goes in through that window. Access is now all alone. He's going to be challenged externally. He will be downed, and as the Sophia does have the option to withstand, but will not be able to, as Crazy really get their legs moving now. And a flawless round takes them to 5-0.
Crazy are thirsting. They're fighting for these kills. They're fighting for the stats to be padded.
That's dangerous.
I think Packbull's still going flawless at the moment. I think he's 7-0. Something like that. He's doing exceptional. A lot of the guys there getting out there, getting plenty of kills. Yep, 7-3-0. Now the pressure's on. Can he have the flawless game? That's what I'd be looking for now.
Start feeling it now.
Yeah, you start feeling it now. You one round away from match point. There's a lot of potential there to go flawless.
Mounty Crip and Adrenal just struggling to get themselves into this one. Absolutely no detriment to them. They are up against some of the best players that we see in the UK at the moment. But, you know, ultimately, if Enclave want to take that round or two, if they want to make the mark, they want to put themselves on the board, they're going to need everybody on the team to be stepping up a little bit and sort of contributing.
The thing is, it becomes a point where it's just so difficult for Enclave to start climbing this mountain, because the confidence level on the side of Crazy is through the roof. They've just been signed by a new organisation. They're going to be really happy about that. They want to go out and put out a good result to show this organisation, look, you made a good choice picking us up, by the way, because we're just going to go out and win this Premiership game for you. Honestly, it's not a big thing. That's just what we do. And they're feeling really confident. Enclave, on the other hand, they're going up against it. It's probably it is the toughest fixture that they're going to face this season in the Premiership. And it just seems like they're just not able to get things going. They've got the right idea, they've got the flashes of brilliance, but they're just not winning out on those gunfights. gunfights, and they're just overall getting swamped.
Yeah, this is literally all about experience for them. You know, nobody wants to write anybody off, but we knew from the start it was always going to be a difficult challenge, and absolutely no detriment to Enclave here whatsoever. They are coming out, they are playing their part, they're picking up kills, they're doing the right things, they're just doing them against a very difficult team, is the top and bottom of it.
Absolutely. Madman. He's a dangerous player to be thirsting after kills. He's wriggling himself out of that door. There is a
nightmare, isn't he?
There's a way you can open up the door without opening it up all the way, and you wriggle in, wriggle out, and, you know, hit your way back through. But he's going to get found out there. Enclave maybe want to keep an eye on that if they can. But it is a good place and a good position to peek onto anybody that's looking to try and pressure onto Jacuzzi Wall. That's usually going to be a really important operator, like a Thermite or like a Thatcher. And you're going to need that player to try. Look at all these doors. They've all been set up for the little wriggle out. He's going to find one onto Adrenal and keep on going. Going for the pistol. 1D, not quite managing it, but still feeling pretty confident, feeling pretty safe to re-peek onto this. I'm sure it's only a couple seconds till he decides I'm going to have another go, but maybe just going to change his line of attack. Maybe go to another door that he's prepared. I'm not sure how busy he's been down here, but it looks as though he's got another option of being able to peek on out. Is he going to find the kill? No. Did he shoot?
I don't think he did. I think the...
Can he see the angle from there?
No, I think the sort of handrail barrier, it's blocked off at that point. He probably didn't quite have the angle just to see the head of Miney Crypt. Thank you very much, Alex. Thor getting a kill onto Dats there. We've still got Nathan up on the top floor here. He will step out of that breach and get the kill onto Miney Crypt. However, we have missed in all of this the Jacuzzi Wall being opened up, which is good progress from Enclave. That is one of the first steps that you really need to have a successful attack here on Gym and Bedroom. Nathan stepping out, Madman getting him a second as well onto Rizuko. Madman will be downed, but as they try to finish him off, Nathan will step out, protect his teammate, but after the round finishes, looks to actually finish the Valkyrie off.
I mean, they're all fighting for KD at this point in time, so every kill is crucial. The Jacuzzi Wall, sure, it got opened, but it almost was to more benefit to Crazy than anything else, because Nathan wide swinging out of that and picking up 2 kills very easily indeed. That's going to be the end of the first half, and now it is time for Crazy to get onto the attack, and more importantly, Enclave to get onto the defense. This is where, if they're going to pick up a round...
Reverse sweeps do happen, X.
They do happen, but this is where they're more likely to pick up a round, should I say. It's still going to be really difficult for them. You know, they're going against Crazy. I don't know what to say.
I think realistically, we are probably going to see a very coordinated, very capable attack coming in here from Crazy. Going down to Church and Arsenal, so what are we likely to see? Let's talk about it in those terms. If you want to see a successful attack down on Church and Arsenal, personally, I feel the most successful attacks are the ones that offer a triple threat. So you get a man down dirt tunnel, you clear out the Jaeger that usually plays in behind the generators in blue corridor, and thank you, Alex. And you breach the church wall that we see reinforced by Cade now. So if you can get those 3 angles and you can start pressuring from all of them, I've never seen a defense withstand that. They get absolutely decimated.
It's the Deathly Hallows. Essentially, what you've just described to me is the Deathly Hallows.
Exactly that. So I would like to see a good example of that maybe from Crazy here. Whether they will sort of bother going to those lengths or not, I don't know. They might be happy to just rush into site and take the gunfights at this stage, given the success that they've had so far. But we will see how it plays out. In terms of defending this site, Enclave, yes, they've got a man in dirt tunnel. Prevent the push from dirt tunnel. They need a man in blue corridor who needs to not over-peak the generators. He needs to keep himself alive because the rotation is there into Church, and that is the key to this site. If blue corridor control is lost, oh boy, are you in trouble.
John Kirk going to be opening up that east wall into Cash just to make sure and see if anybody is upstairs. But I imagine the drone work has already gone ahead of him now and has called top floor as clear, or at least all 5 players on site. We can see them all there, just spread out into the dirt tunnel, the blue generator, and in and around Church, as you rightly suggest, Tim. Those are going to be the key areas that you want to try and keep control of. Doesn't look like there's anything stopping the Moto hatch from being opened. There's a lot of progress now is being made, opening up the floor, removing those Goyo shields. You want to get those out nice and early. and who better to have on the book than Packbull? He knows all the little spots. He's going to be able to open up the important lines of sight here and just allow his team. Oh, look at that for a narrow angle. That's going to be a super difficult challenge to make with Buck's weapon in particular. We all know just how much recoil that thing has. I'm not sure if he did manage to land any shots. I don't think he did, but a very skinny angle nonetheless, just displaying the sheer knowledge of these guys.
Not much of that floor left, is there?
Not a lot.
This is where, you know, a Nitro could possibly come in for the defenders there. It's going to be very difficult to play under there. I'm very aware of that. But if you just have that threat, potentially, of the pulse down there, maybe, that could just get that Nitro up on the floor and just make them think twice about pushing Kitchen so aggressively. We're going to see Dats pushing in now. Enclave are doing well here. 2 minutes into the round. 5 still on the board. Thor holding blue corridor. I think that might change in a second. But no! That's a very important kill onto Dats. What a great headshot from Thor, and I picked that out as a real linchpin of this defense before we got going, and Thor showing why it is so important here. They're struggling to get progress into the site, and it is because they don't have that blue corridor control, so it's difficult then to push towards Church. You are limited into an Arsenal push.
It's going to be very difficult now because you haven't got that pressure from both sides, and you can already see Thor still being allowed to play inside of blue. He's got the opportunity to peek out with bullet holes onto Packbull, who was just in Moto a second ago, but as it stands, it seems as though Crazy are stalling out a little bit here. There's a lot of utility for them yet to deal with. We've got Evil Eye cameras, we've got a lot of defenders remaining on site, Smoke's Toxic Babe canisters as well coming into the mixture. Madman's getting that plant down, and Impact will be tossed, but it won't be enough. 3 kills very quickly. Nathan hitting the double, and well, Packbull will fall. MnM finds one, Jonker trades that out instantly, and it is now all down to the Smoke. He's got the SAS shotgun. He's got a chance of being able to do this. We've already seen what shotguns can do in this scenario today. I just think that Jonker is playing this a little bit smart. He's quite far away for that shotgun to affect. The Toxic Babe canister comes out. That's going to force him to move. The SMG-11 can do this. Has MnM got it in his locker? Yes, he has. He's able to get the kill, and he's going to go for that defuse. A quad kill on the round and sit down Crazy.
Let's go, MnM. Absolutely savage from the dirt tunnel there. I'll tell you what was interesting. The kill chasing stopped pretty quickly when 2 of them went down to the shotgun, didn't it? Jonker then just stepped right back and was like, I'm having none of this. As it was, MnM made a good decision, switched onto his SMG-11, came out. He still had a difficult 1v1 challenge to make, and he made it. 1v3 clutch from MnM. Who would have put money on that coming into this game?
I don't think anybody would have put money on that at all. And that was just pretty shocking, to be honest. And
We've just seen play of the week.
We've seen play of the week. We've probably seen play of the season. You can't really put it on Jonker. He's in the 1v1. Anything can happen in the 1v1.
I think you've got...
the problems before that.
I'm very aware that Crazy is 6-1 up here. However, 2 of them rushing to Dirt Tunnel against the shotgun is asking for trouble.
What do you expect?
It's asking for trouble.
We've
and that's
seen
exactly
that.
what they got. So no, I wouldn't put that onto Jonker. He did exactly what he needed to do. He gave himself, he played the odds, he gave himself every opportunity to at least be in the gunfight. But ultimately, MnM at that point, let's be honest, he was probably shaking at that point. He's got the tremble on, but he's come out.
Oh. He's gone.
He's gone at that point.
Gone.
He's done very well to win that gunfight. Maybe his trembling actually just counteracted the SMG recoil. Who knows? But he gets a great gunfight win onto Jonker there. Absolute props to MnM for throwing us that entertainment of that 1v3 clutch with diffuse denial. Great stuff from him. You love to see it.
It's things you love to see. We've been teased that so many times tonight as well. Think back to Zumi on Consulate. We were teased that sort of an ace clutch scenario kind of thing. MnM comes out there, 4K clutch with the diffuser down. Still has enough time to get it done. Very entertaining indeed. And I don't know, is Madman going to regretted taking Thermite Shotgun? It was something that we saw last round. Didn't comment on it at the time, but
he hasn't got it now.
He hasn't got it now, that's all I'm saying. Rizoku finds the first kill over onto Nathan. Losing out on one of your 2 hard breaches isn't very good at all. A lot of information as well here on the side of Enclave, as we've got some nice Valkyrie cameras placed out. Plenty of pre-fire shots. Packbull seems like he spent all the round and all the game inside of blue. He is going to find one, but then get traded out pretty quickly.
Razuko getting himself a couple of kills before going down, though. Razuko's actually had a very good game. He's been quietly away getting his kills. The Zephyr there, Dats will down Access in the process of helping get that wall cleared off. Access will be finished off by Dats as well, so nobody moving in to take that kill from the Zephyr. 3 versus 2 now with the East Wall open. Enclave have certainly got a job ahead of them to keep themselves in this, but look who's still on the board. MnM, the hero of round 7, is still available. He still has full health, I believe, and he's on the mute, so he potentially has that shotgun in hand. He will use the SMG to get the kill onto Madman, and MnM at this point is going absolutely wild here in round number 7 and 8. He really does not want this game to finish just yet. He's stepping up for Enclave, and this is exactly what they need. They need somebody to just come out and say, you know what, Crazy, we're here to play. We're on this map too.
And more importantly, he's got the diffuser down as well, so it's going to be so difficult for Crazy to try and retake this. That shotgun at close range, it's going to do the business, even as far away as the door. He's being backed up by his teammate Adrenal as well, and I think that Jonker and Dats are probably pretty scared. They're probably looking at this thinking, what are we going to do? How are we going to unroot these players? Because they are playing it just so well.
Scared. Could be a strong word there, X, but we will see how this one goes on. Dats didn't look too scared there as he moved in and got the headshot onto MnM. That will now leave us in another clutch situation. This time, it's Adrenal. He's had a bit of a struggle so far. He's on the Cade. He's got the capability, I'm sure. Will he be able to clutch this one out for his team? It looks like the diffuser has been recovered, so there is the potential for a plant with 24 seconds to go. They're going to have to do something, and the something they will do is step up and win that gunfight. It was actually a trade with Adrenal. He did manage to get the kill onto Dats, but in a 1 versus 2, that wasn't just quite enough for Enclave. But I tell you what, they gave us some entertainment towards the end there. Props to those guys.
That was a really entertaining game of Siege, and like you say, props to Enclave. They did a fantastic job of putting on a great show, and I'm sure that one player in particular is going to be pretty thrilled, and we're probably going to see that clip.
He's going to be clipping that. That's going to be that is probably already on Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah, MnM didn't get a frag throughout the entire first half, and then literally in the first round of the second half, he just thought, oh, I'll just get a 4K, why not? Couldn't make up. The first week was incoming almost.
I mean, stranger things happen in Siege. It just goes to show how anything's possible, and a round can be won or lost literally on the drop of a coin. So, great round, great fun to watch.
You'll have to see it. You know,
yeah.
we've had a lot of fun watching that. As I say, Enclave have played their part there. They've given us something to shout about. Everybody loves to support an underdog. I'm sure Crazy will understand our excitement at that. You know, they know that we're big supporters of theirs as well. We love to see the progress they're making, but it's always nice to see a team like Enclave come in there and just have that unexpected moment. So, great fun from them.
You just saw the last 2 rounds, they just weren't playing said. They're just thinking to themselves, oh, do you know what, why not? Let's muck around here a little bit more and actually get something going here just for a laugh. And it kind of paid off in some ways. And if MnM managed to save the day again for a second round, I was thinking to myself, don't make me come back up to the desk twice. Like, you know, I've had enough exercise as it is, Ollie.
I mean, you could tell just how seriously Crazy were taking it, because it would have been so easy for them to play that last round differently and rotate in through different windows or push things, but instead they just recognise, and this is where experience shows, is that they just take their time.
Yep.
And they know that they're going to be able to find those last couple of kills, because they know that the guys on the other side of the coin, the other side of the team, they're going to be a little bit worried. They're in a big clutch situation, you're fighting against a match point, that's when your experience comes in, and Jonker and Dats showed us that.
They certainly did, and again, it's that professionalism that we've spoken about. You know, there's a match there to be won. I just absolutely love this. So watch, you get one challenge, Madman comes in, you get the second challenge, Nathan comes in, and then Jonker thinks, I'm not chasing this one, and just steps right back, and all of a sudden that seriousness kicks in, but it's just a little bit too late.
Yeah, a little bit too late towards the end there. But to be fair, if they did somehow come back with a draw, I would have definitely recorded your reaction, or both your reactions, because I would have seen nothing like it. Your face would have gone completely red with, okay, was a tad bit wrong there.
I mean, yeah, it certainly wasn't something that we were expecting, but nice to see just a little flair. Always good fun to see individuals performing in the game that we all love, and that's what it's all about.
It is. That's, you know, it's not about the entire match sometimes. It's about having those moments, and it can be a 15, 20-second 1 versus 3 that just makes a match memorable and exciting. And like I say, it gives us something to shout about. It gives you something to get hyped about, and it's just a lot of fun, and that's what Siege boils down to for me.
And it's just funny, but as well as getting the 4Ks, it was the plant as well. You know, they could have done anything else, but he just didn't seem to care really at that point, did he, Ollie?
No, I mean, you're in a bit of an impossible situation. You know, you've got to focus on the kills. You're in dirt tunnel. You've got no out. You need to fight your way out tooth and nail, and you've got to get the kills at some point, and then you've got to go for that diffuse. So, I mean, had the diffuser been all the way over inside a church, you might not have had time.
Come out
Who
swinging.
knows?
What else can you do? And that's exactly what Mountcrypt did. And I tell you what, people are going to be extra cautious about leaving Mountcrypt in dirt tunnel from now on. They're not going to be rushing him. Let me put it that way.
No more Clubhouse, I think. I think they know where the ban's going to come from now. But make sure you vote for your player of the match at ESL UK on Twitter. It is Dats, it is Pat Paul. Don't worry about them. Where's it? That one. Mountcrypt. That one. Go for that one. That was definitely.
You know he deserves it.
I was also like, I was going to do this. I was like, oh, it must be Dats. I thought, no, we can't give it to Dats again. Like he's had so many players already.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we think he's had enough. It should be illegal for him to, you know, actually have top players because it's been
fair.
so many times. So
That's fair.
that was fair as well. But we do have an interview with Pat Paul actually to see what he has to say about that match entirely. Hello, my friend. Seeing you once again, and it looks like you were struggling quite a lot throughout that entire match.
Yeah, we kind of knew going into it that no disrespect to Enclave, but that it would be a relatively easy game. So yeah, we just went into it with the mentality of not showing too much and playing a map that we know we can win against almost any team convincingly.
No, well, we knew it was just playground work anyway, so not to worry about that. But what kind of advice would you actually give Enclave in terms of their performance in the past, or, you know, kind of what you guys have done? Because you guys have made a name for yourselves over the last few months, over the last 6 months, shall we say. But what kind of advice would you give them as an entire team?
I think they were missing a lot of structure. So, general, I'm not sure who their IGL is, or if they have one, or if they just run off pre-planned stuff. But it felt playing against them that there was a lot of just lack of coordination, lack of a good plan going into each round. So for example, on our basement roam strat, just when it came down to 3v3 or something, they consistently decided 2 guys pushing tunnel and 1 guy kitchen hatch was a good strat or something like that. Which I think that's just general as a team they need to go through and look at their attacks a bit more, especially, and decide how they can improve them.
We definitely put on a show anyway. But last question about tomorrow's game. Now, you're playing against Fierce, and the last time you played against them was in the Challenger League qualifiers. So I think it was the first match in the winners bracket, if I remember rightly, and it was 2-1 to you guys. Are you looking forward to playing against them to see what changes in the best-of-1 format?
It should be interesting. Every time we play them, it seems to go to overtime. So obviously there's no overtime in best-of-1, so we're going to need to close that before it gets to there. It should be an interesting game, though. Obviously a lot of gun skill on their side. So I think it'll come down to who's winning their gun fights in the day.
Yeah, see if it'll be Coastline or not then. That would be another good laugh. After your performance on Coastline last time, you and Dats just went absolutely off. But congratulations once again, and I'm sure we'll see you again tomorrow.
All right, thank you. See you.
Not much to say, yeah, basically said, you know, just some little things here and there we need to work on, but then again, there is some major improvements, but we said it before, say it again, experience, grind, it's just the normal stuff you kind of need to do, I feel like, Ace.
Yeah, I like that from Pat Bull, gave some very genuine advice there, a lot of respect to Enclave, again, just showing that professional mentality that the team have got, and it's great to see, you know, we know that the teams scrim together, they work together, you know, all the players know each other, and it's good to see them sort of genuinely supporting each other in that way as well. Excellent from them.
Absolutely, but let's have a look at the results throughout the course of the entire day. Got a couple of close ones here and there, one not so close. Of course, that was that last one, but Randy's versus Burning Foxes, the one to watch, did end up having Burning Foxes take that 7-4, even though they managed to adapt a lot quicker towards the end. Demise doing business as per usual, and so as Crazy, and of course with the secret one at the last match we've discussed earlier on in the show. So not really too much to talk about here and there, but for the top 2 finishing, you know, MnM are already the gatekeepers, secret not been around aren't anymore. So that second spot is definitely all for grabs still, Wally.
Yeah, the second spot is going to be fiercely fought for, and I think that Fierce may be getting themselves into contention for that as well. You can see here in the rankings. Now, this is something that we spoke about earlier, Tim. round difference is going to start to come into things. Now, Crazy had a bit of a ropey week 1, should I say, against Audacity, going 7-5, and all of a sudden that's starting to hurt them now because they're going up against Fierce and they're only missing out on round difference.
Shows how important tomorrow's matchups really are. You know, with Crazy coming in against Fierce, we're going to now have a situation where we only have one unbeaten team remaining. So that's going to be an interesting one. We could end up with no unbeaten teams if they, if they go with a draw. We could be in a situation where I suppose they are unbeaten, but we don't have somebody with all the wins on the board, at least. But yeah, those top 3 really shaping up to face off against each other.
But Enclave versus Audacity as well, that's battle for relegation pretty much, both of them with almost a similar scoreline. If Enclave, that is a must-win. If they draw, that's pretty much almost done for at that point. But if they take the win, then, my goodness, that would be an upset. But Audacity, I don't think they'll be too pleased, Ollie.
I mean, I don't think we've seen the best Enclave we could have seen tonight. We certainly could have seen a better team. I think that's probably because they played against Crazy. We weren't really expecting to see them firing on all cylinders. But with the way that Audacity played tonight, they could be in with quite a chance tomorrow. They did exceptionally well against Demise, and like you say, there's a fixture there to be sort of fought for. It's that battle for relegation, the lower half of the table that we always talk about.
Absolutely. This is, I think, if we're honest, Enclave coming into the Premiership would have said, we're happy to be here.
Yeah.
We're happy to be here. That's our achievement. Let's just go and have some fun in the season. Whatever we get out of it, great. So, if they come in with that mentality as well, don't write them off. They could be dangerous. You never know. There could be an upset on the cards.
Oh yeah, in the future, wouldn't surprise me. We've seen a lot of weird things, as I mentioned before, in the Premiership. But if you guys at home want to take part in the Open Cups, make sure you head over to esl.im/R6UK to get all those Roman 6 Siege coins which you need for the skins and all that bits and pieces. You know what I'm talking about anyway. And make sure on Tuesdays, both on PC and the Xbox One. But guys, that's pretty much all we've got time for. Any final thoughts?
I'm probably going to go and watch that clip again. I'm going to find it on Twitter because I'm sure it's already been posted. But yeah, vote for Mario Crypt for Player of the Week.
Mario Crypt for MVP, without a doubt. Let's go.
If Manny Crypt don't get it, I'm just going to be so sad. I'm just going to hide under my bed, just absolutely severely crying and disappointed. But if you do, then great. I'll make sure to be all happy and jifty about it. But thanks to you guys, of course, being on the desk with me all evening, and we'll be tomorrow as well. Thanks to production, but thanks to you, the viewers at home, and our sponsors, AOC Gaming. And we'll see you same time, same place tomorrow.
Seconds remaining.